Diary entry. Lauren, age 31. 7 Aurora cycles after episode 1. For days now, I've had to hide what I know from who I normally consider the first person I'd tell. Having to betray Con this way is like nothing I could ever imagine. Then, of course, I do imagine how she had done the same to me for almost a full phase. That lightens the guilt slightly. The urge to speak out during her notes, or Jon's for that matter, is still almost unbearable. I want so bad to reveal what is to come, but I mustn't. To do so would rob so many of their truest reactions to the tales yet to come, and I should never want to be the cause of a spoiler. I can only be ever grateful that I have my Kyle at my side through it all. The two of us together are a vault made to hold the secrets of the world against those who seek them from us. Although sometimes I wish I could throw him in a vault, and yet other times I wish I could be locked in the vault with him.
Wow, wow, wow.
Amazing. Play the song.
That was incredible.
Welcome back to Between Pages and Friends, a book club podcast hosted by Con and Lauren, two besties who read a lot of books, and Jon and Kyle, their game-returned reader husbands who've agreed to read with them. I'm Jon.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Lauren.
And I'm Con. You are listening to episode 2 of the Moonfall series by Sarah A. Parker. Today we are covering When the Moon Hatched, chapters 16 to 30. This is a book club podcast, meaning there will be no spoilers here for future chapters. So if you've only read through chapter 30, same. This is a safe place to debrief with us while we discuss.
But before we begin the discussion, here's a quick content warning. When the Moon Hatched is rated for audiences 18 and up, and as we'll be talking through direct quotes and themes from this book, our episodes are best suited for adults. Oh, and speaking of, I couldn't help but notice you've been listening, watching, letting us take up space in your head. I bet you tell yourself it's just a podcast, just a harmless little hobby. But here you are, curious, tempted, wondering what happens if you say yes. Well, let me tell you. For $5 a month, you can enter into the Book Bestie tier of our Patreon, which comes with the keys to our private library. Our Discord. Chat with like-minded literature lovers, monthly book talks, live events, and all the things we don't just share with anyone. But $10 a month, well, that would make you the next tier up. Found family. Everything above, plus early ad-free episodes, merch discounts, the power to decide where our little story goes in our voting channel, and maybe a little bit more of our time. But careful, darlings. Once you're in, you won't want to leave. And between you and me, we may not let you.
If you're not already excited, get excited now, you chickens. Well, haven't you heard? We've been nominated for the 20th Annual People's Choice Podcast Awards. We are absolutely over the moon. See what I did there? To have learned about this literally just today and spent the better part of our respective days starry-eyed and kicking our feet. Our fellow nominees are amazing podcasts as well, and like I've said, it's an honor to even be considered among them.
All of this wouldn't be possible without all of the amazing friends we've made since the start, or the ratings and reviews you give us, like this recent 5-star review on Apple Podcasts from our new bestie in the UK, Jessica of Valaris, titled The Best Way to Spend a Wednesday. Please come to England. Love this podcast. I've watched you all through my read of Throne of Glass, reading along the Empyrean series now, and watching your reactions to Quicksilver each week as I've read this too. Obsessed with the girls. I feel like my US besties to me being a UK girly. I'm such a Lauren, always looking for a romance and spice. Loved Kale, good job. Swooning over Xaden at the moment, and loved Kingfisher. Sames. I look forward to every Wednesday's episode and laugh along to Kyle and Jon's dad comments and theories. If I was in the US, I'd so go to Enchanticon, but I guess you guys just need to hop across the pond so us and UK friends between the pages can meet up. Heart hands emoji. Love you guys. Dragon fire emoji. Thank you, Jessica from Valaris.
That's so
Thank
sweet.
you.
Wow.
Do you actually live in
love this.
Valaris? Because
God.
I mean, don't ask us
Didn't know that was
twice.
in the UK.
Yeah, where are we going to visit you?
We are so honored if you would take a moment to write a podcast review on Audible or Apple Podcasts. We recently discovered that Apple Podcasts doesn't display reviews from other countries on our public page. So we logged into our account to find the rest of your amazing reviews, and we've been so overwhelmed with gratitude reading through them all, and we will find a way to share them soon. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. This is so sweet. All right, we're kicking off Con's Declassified Fantasy Pronunciation Guide. This is the part of the show where we highlight all the new names and places mentioned in this chapter section. Once again, we are referencing the audiobook narrated by Sarah Molo Christensen and Phaedra Al Casey. And from time to time, we will be consulting our lore expert, Lauren, to give us some spoiler-free references to the glossary that is in the book. So first up in places, a little clarifying one here is the Flourish. This is the name of the underground safe haven that was mentioned in episode 1. Apparently the Flourish specifically was also mentioned by name in our first chapter section, and I missed it. So here it is. That's what that is. And then another clarification, in episode 1, I said Gondrog for one of the pronunciations, and it does change a little bit. So in the prologue, it is pronounced Gondra. In the rest of the book, so far, it's been pronounced Gonder. So just wanted to throw that one in there because I heard Gonder and I was like, wait a minute. And then in characters, we met Rook, the Woto that Rave met in the dungeons. Lauren, can you tell us what a Woto is?
Of course. A Woto is a furry creature with big paddled ears, a long nose, pronged teeth, and has whiskers. They are around 2/3 the size of a regular fae and are prized for being able to steal things from tricky places. They are also known as great hoarders, and as we see in the book, it's very verbal.
Interesting. I was having trouble picturing this one in the book, but having the description all together is helping me a little bit. I would love some spoiler-free fan art of Rook.
Sure.
If that's a thing that exists in the world, that would be great.
What does it mean by paddled ears?
That's a great question.
I can't picture that for some reason.
Does that mean they're like bent over a little bit, or no?
That's what I was assuming.
I thought it was more like akin to a paddle.
Like a shape.
Pictures
like
that are
round.
coming up are little kitty ears. I
What
think,
kind of kitty ears?
like the ones that maybe like
Oh, the little ones.
the little baby
Little like
ears.
hood ears.
Yeah, and they kind of like
Oh.
have
I see.
a little
Oh,
space
that's
in them.
cute.
You know,
Got
Yeah.
you. Yeah. All right.
lots of
Okay,
little
that's
kids.
kind of fun. Little kitties. Minnie, where are you? Oh, there she is. Wow. Hi.
She's like, "You're talking about me."
What excellent timing you have. All right, then we get some more details on the brother kings. So King Fade is Kadok Vagor. King Shade is Tyroth Vagor. And then King Burn is Con Vagor, a.k.a. the Incognito King. Con's ancient giant saber scythe is called Rygun. And then in the diary entry timeline, Austern Vagor was King of the Burn previously, and now it is Con. We also get some more dragon names. So Slatra is Elowin's Moonplume. Alum is Hadion's Moonplume. Nathe is Elowin's mom's Moonplume. And then Akeri is, I'm assuming, Elowin's dad's dragon, but we don't get a lot of information or specification on that. And then Bia is the flesh threader Con asked to mend Rave. In world building, we have a weld, and this is another one I want to consult Lauren on because I don't think we get a really clear explanation of this in the context of the book yet.
No, we don't. And reading this really helped me understand something in the book as well. So hopefully it helps you. So a weld is a small handheld device that's runed to be able to contain different elements in their purest forms. So we see Con hold one of these, but what it can hold is fire, air, water, ground, and then we also see him hold it with dragon flame. It says to catch dragon flame, though, it is very rare and would require the blood of a Dagamork to construct, which a Dagamork was the person so attuned to their dragon they could like control its flame. So
Okay, that is helpful. Thank you. Finishing off our world building, we have Doom Quills. Is that something you can tell us about yet?
it's not in there.
Oh,
It was not,
okay, great.
unless I missed it.
Blah.
It was not in this giant ass glossary. It was not in there. Kyle's checking too.
Interesting. Well, okay, so the Doom Quills I think were only mentioned in the diary entries, and it was when Elowin and Hadion were going to get their eggs, and so they were trying to protect themselves from like a pack of Doom Quills.
Right.
But I don't know that we really get a solid definition on what
I'm
they are.
assuming
It was just that they
they're
were a
a
threat.
mix between like a wolf and a porcupine.
Sure.
That's what I'm going with.
Yeah. but it's
That's
definitely
really
not
the
in here.
only assumption
Maybe
one could make.
Maybe
Okay.
a little smaller than the actual size of a wolf.
But covered in needles like a porcupine.
Yeah, sure.
But
With
when we have
wolf-like
our,
agility and,
Scary.
yeah, maybe we can ask Sarah when she's on the pod
let's do it.
at the
Yeah.
end
Okay, wait.
for a
Let me
definition
type that somewhere.
or what a doom
because I'll
quill looks
forget.
like.
Sarah.
Can
What
we
is
have
a
a
doom
glossary
quill?
entry for a doom quill?
It's in a Google Doc now.
It's the only thing in the Google Doc.
It says, Sarah, enter. What is a doom quill?
Amazing. Leave it.
Our full
Send it.
interview.
We send her the outline a week before, and this is it.
She's like, I gotta prepare enough content on that. Knowing her, she probably could. With all her deep lore.
Probably, yeah, that's true. All right, and then we have truth tunes. These are folk who can sift through the minds of others to decipher whether or not they can hear any of the 4 elemental songs. The nobles and the chancellor were mentioned as those responsible for holding the trials, in the Fade at least. And then Fawny-Caw Dung. Lauren, would you like to tell us about this?
Well, obviously you know what dung is, but a Fawny-Caw is
Please
a
describe it to me.
no. Fawny-Caw is a winged, leathery beast with a stumpy neck and big, gloomy eyes. They are less than half the size of an average molten maw and are able to blend in with the rust-colored stone in the burn. They can cling to cliffs and ceilings and have bat-like wings, and they can be ridden. So it sounds horrifying, is what it sounds like.
Sarah, you're going to have Fawny-Caw in there, but not Doomquill? Come on.
Sorry.
So it's like bat poop then.
Yeah. But they're like half the size of a dragon.
So a lot of
That
that.
is terrifying. A lot of
Yeah.
bat poop.
And it blends in with like the stone and stuff. Yeah. So it'd be hard to
Wow.
spot.
I wonder if they caw, and that's why it's in the name.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny sounding.
Probably sounds
like,
funny. Yeah.
That's kind of a funny call. Hey, wait a minute.
Hold on.
Say
Write
that
that
again.
It's got a nice ring to it. All right, let's factually finish off this pronunciation guide. I just have a few other terms that we heard in this section, and those are flesh threading, dragon sight, rindle root used to numb pain, and then fermented eel eggs to disinfect. And that's all I got for you today. John, take it away with the recaps.
Thanks, Biatch. Love you.
Hey,
I probably won't put that in there. That was
No,
just
please
for us.
do.
I don't know. I'll think about it.
To catch everybody off guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just for you guys behind closed doors.
All right, go on, Hope.
Thanks. All right, let's chop it up. We get another diary entry from Elwyn. Her and Hadion are in Netherin, each with their own... Oh, wait. They didn't each have their own moonplume egg.
Nope,
Right.
they only have one. And then Elowen takes the one that's like flying overhead because he's unconscious.
Yeah.
He's sleeping.
He's a sleepy boy. He's just taking a nap. It'd be like if Con and I went on an adventure and we'd have to stop in the middle of an ice storm so she could take a nap. And then we'd continue on.
It's funny because it's true.
I know.
Her and Hadion are in Netherin. Hadion injured and sleeping while Elwyn protects and keeps cold the moonplume egg that he snagged. He's obviously not doing too good. She's built like a hut around him to keep him warm and safe, but he's sleeping a lot. She's worried that he may never wake up. And if he doesn't, she's not going back home. And we rejoin Rave post-other, chained up in a cell, beat up, and wondering what happened. She hears footsteps, and Rek comes into view. They have a nice little back and forth here, Rek demanding her real name, sharing with her that instead of contact info, Levy handed her a tracking rune. You dirty bee. And finally, that he was hoping it would lead him to the Flourish, and that he needs a higher-up to get a hold of. Interesting. She stays defiant until Rek has had enough, and then he just starts to give her some lashes until she pretty much passes out. We're back to Elwyn, still in her hut with Hadion, who has yet to awaken, and their moonplume egg. The mother of said egg is swooping above them, screeching, hunting for them and her stolen egg. She notes that it must be the mother because they both have a metallic shade of gray, and then it gives off a beautiful light. There are other monsters out there as well that she can hear too. She's scared for the egg and hoping that she doesn't have to kill anything to protect it. And we're back with Rave in a different cell with some other prisoners. a Woto named Rook, who is digging a hole in one corner, some Sabi chick across from them, and a weird-looking dude on her other side. She gets some food, but passes it over to Rook, and we get some info here that she's had experience in a cell before, possibly with Fallon, although we don't really get that info for sure here. Back with Elowen, her and Hadian are safe, but apparently he broke a leg or two maybe, and because she mentions that some bones fused together but not the right way, and that he'll never be able to walk again. She also mentions that his moon plume may never fly because of an injured wing, so bummer there all around. She also recounts how they got out of there. She fought off the Doom Quills until Mother Moonplume swept down to take out the rest, and she happened to hop on top of it until it listened to her song, even though she begged the creators for help, and now apparently they won't shut up. Very interesting implications here for little Elowen. A lot of information. Back with Rave in her cell, trying to pass the time when someone comes to visit Rook. And wouldn't you know it, it's the large gruff dude from before, now mysteriously dressed as a Rooney. She listens in on their convo. Large gruff dude hearing that Rook had a moon shard and that he's willing to trade a saber scythe tusk for it, to which Rook agrees. Large gruff dude goes to leave and smells Rave, casually breaks the lock to her door with one hand and saunters in to get a good look at her face. And when he does, he is at a loss for words, clearly recognizing her. The truth tune in one of the other cells confirms that Rave is confused and doesn't recognize him. Then he takes a weld with dragon flame, holds it to her face, showing a scar, as he notes that she's been quote-unquote mended, also calls her Moonbeam, and gets interrupted by another Rooney in disguise calling him Sire, confirmation that he is indeed a king, before guards come to take her to the council for her trial. Wow. Lots of questions after this interaction for sure. She gets to the trial with all the dudes. Large gruff dude up in a mezzanine with a bunch of other people looking on. She makes a bit of a spectacle here as they bring in evidence of her killings, using her signature for her prison food to confirm the writing on people's chest when she killed them. So they were just like slapping down just slabs of meat on the floor. Like, first of all, how did they get these, first of all? Anyway. She basically tells them that someone had to do it since they haven't been doing their job and not doing anything about these people. They vote on her sentence, with it being a draw between being drawn and quartered, which is her preference, and fed to the dragons. But then, large gruff dude raises his hand in favor of dragons, and it looks like that's how she's going out, folks. And she's pissed because she wants to die how she wants to die. She's escorted back to her cell and reminisces briefly on how she enjoys living and some of the things she misses. Back to Elowen, and we get a little time jump here to the future. She's now 18. They are visited by the king of the burn, Ostern Vagor, possibly for marriage to one of his sons. And in not so many words, she basically says that she'll never ever marry one of them, especially Tyroth. She mentions how Hadian has never been the same since their journey and his injuries, which is why she has been working tirelessly to heal up his dragon's wing to fly so he can finally smile again. Back to Rafe, being visited yet again by Large Gruff Dude, who takes her to a separate room to get her back healed by a flesh thread named Bia, who also is gifted with something called Dragon Sight, which means that she can see past runes. Past runes. Previous runes, right?
Yeah. I think it was previous, but I'm not sure.
Not like see past them.
Yeah.
Like see further than.
No, I think it was.
That, I don't think that would have made sense in the context of the
You
sentence
don't make
anyway.
sense in context of this.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
Rude.
Okay. It's past.
Just says to ignite the trail of past runes. So like the trail on her body of old runes.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. All right. Bia, who also is gifted with Dragon Sight, which means that she can see past runes. And as Rave says, she can see, quote-unquote, everything inside of her. Her and Large Gruff Dude have a somewhat tender moment as he helps her, as Bia comes back and begins the painful journey of healing her back. Why did I word it that way? Back to Elowen. Still working on Hadian's dragon to practically fully healed, as the dragon recognizes this and ends up taking off, flinging Elowen back, And when she comes to, she can see Hadion's dragon in the sky, the light glittering off, plumes of aqua flame thrown skyward as in victory, and Hadion close by, witnessing the same thing and smiling from ear to ear. Real quick, is it Hadion or Hadion? Am I saying it wrong?
I always say Hadion.
Hadion.
I feel like I need to double
We
check
laughed
that.
about saying, "Hey, Dion," so I'm pretty sure it's
Hadion. Wrong
Yeah.
this entire time. Okay.
I mean, it's fine.
And Hadion close by, witnessing the same thing and smiling from ear to ear. Bia finishes up healing Rave's back, and as they discuss getting the pin out of her shoulder, they land on putting... What's happening? How am I writing this? All right. Bia finishes up healing Rave's back, and as they discuss getting the pin out of her shoulder, they land on putting a salve on it that interestingly has a numbing quality and also another agent that disinfects but also smells terrible. Okay, that's kind of weird. Back in her cell, Rook gone. She's waiting to be taken to be eaten, basically, humming the familiar tune to calm herself, as Uno, of all things and creatures, pops up like in front of her cell, stating that Sareem talked to Ruse to send Uno to get Rave out. As Uno starts picking the lock, Rave tries to get her to stop, explaining that they know who she is, and if she escapes that they're just going to double down, possibly go after Ruse and other members of the Oth. At this, Uno goes into like this weird trance thing. Apparently this is what happens when she sees the future, a quote-unquote foretelling, as Rave calls it. When Uno comes out of it, she states that not only Ruse, but Sareem, too, would die if Rave doesn't make it to the Colosseum. But before she goes, she takes a piece of coal and draws something on Rave's forehead, apparently in the shape of Hadion's dragon's moon, Hay's perch. And Uno says, "This is right," whatever that means. And now it's time to head to the Colosseum. She sees some familiar faces in the crowd as she is escorted up to the center and tied to a wooden stake. The feeding bell tolls. At the same time, the queen is able to look on her in a wide-eyed stare of shock, possibly recognition. A couple dragons come down to land as the queen uses Claude to spin a protective gust around Rave, and Rave quickly realizes that the queen is trying to save her. Just then, a giant saber scythe comes down, getting its face close to look at Rave, and Rave is filled with some kind of like power or something. She begins to sing to the dragon in another language, and it seems to listen. It gives a roar, chomps her along with the stake, and flies off with Rave in its mouth. Okay, back to Elwyn, sleeping and thinking of how Hadion was during his first flight on Elum, but that same night, her family was poisoned. Her mom and dad, then king and queen, and Hadion, all dead. The royal aides tell her that she needs to wear the diadem now. All the creators she can hear now saying the same thing. Sounds like she eventually does wear it, if anything, to feel closer to her family, now a queen. Back with Rave in the mouth of a dragon, kind of freaking out, fair. Doesn't know where she's going, basically expecting to be met by several baby dragons and to like fight for her life, even going so far as to think of a lighthearted tune like a bar, almost like a bar song kind of thing, to keep her mind off her impending doom. When she feels them finally land, she gets spit out and promptly vomits. Getting her bearings, she recognizes large gruff dude sauntering toward her as he claims to have saved her, giving the nobles a show so they don't go after her or the Oth, naming Raigan as the saber scythe, and the realization that she's been conversing with none other than Con Vagor, the Burn King. Ooh, sick burn. She knows how devastating they both look, girl, you have no idea. And also that she's getting burnt, alluding to her more fair skin in the weather of what we can only assume is the burn. That's where they are. Khan cuts her bindings while getting in some good banter, but then rebinds her hands, throws her over his shoulder, and takes her up onto Raigan, screaming. He places her so she's straddling him, and he ends up giving her 10 seconds to adjust which way she wants to sit. In a funny moment, as she gets turned around and plops down, they take off, and she's on her way to Dom, the capital of the burn, with King Con Vagor.
Let's get into it. Let's go.
We start this chapter section with Elwyn packing snow around Hadion's moon plume egg by herself because, quote, Hadion can't, because I found him sleeping at the bottom of a crevice, cuddling his stolen moon plume egg, unable to move his legs. And I thought that he was already dead here. I was really nervous for like the first few paragraphs because she kept saying he was sleeping. And I was like, oh no, like she's 9, her brother's dead, and she's like stranded here by herself. So I'm glad that he didn't die here, but then he still ends up dying in this chapter section, which is just, I don't know, my heart was just shattering for her and also for him. And this was so emotional. It's
like total opposite to what my only note here was, because I read the exact same passage and my only thought was like, that egg needs to be kept cold? That's weird. It's kind of unique.
I mean, it's from the shade, so I guess.
Yeah,
I guess. I mean, different animals. It's a different beast. It's built different.
It is built different.
Wonderful perspective.
Thank you. I wasn't expecting to have to dig into my note there. I just wanted to say I had a different reaction.
I was kind of expecting you to tell us all about how eggs,
I feel like everybody knows eggs need to be warm.
Insane Kyle-style details.
There was nothing about me that was like, maybe people don't know that usually eggs should be warm. Eggs need to be warm usually. All of me just thought it was weird, thought I mentioned it. I was going to move on.
But we were all waiting for it.
Now I'm Googling.
I'm sure the only eggs that are okay with cold would be like deep sea fish eggs. That makes sense to me, but...
Like Nemo?
Maybe a good old platypi now and then.
Maybe.
Pie.
I don't know if that's the plural of platypus.
Hold on, like what are you Googling?
Watch it.
I want to know if there's any type of animal where like the egg needs to be cold to hatch. How egg hatch cold?
Ask chat.
Oh, that's a good idea. Hey, girl.
All I'm finding is that they can tolerate short periods of cold, but they still generally need warmth. I mean, even like penguin eggs need the warmth.
Yeah, but none of those are dragons.
Yeah, I was going to say fish that are like deep sea, you're not going to really get much warmth out of, which I think even then sometimes they find those, underwater volcano warmer spots in the ocean to do that in.
Is this real? This says temperature-dependent sex determination in reptiles.
Yeah, that's actually a thing.
While most reptile eggs need warmth, in some species, like some turtles, cooler incubation temperatures produce one sex and warmer temperatures produce the other.
Yeah. What's even crazier is the frogs that can change sex anytime, depending on what their community needs. Like if they're short females, they'll be like, I guess I'll change to a female. And
that's wild.
Yeah. Animals are crazy.
Okay. Well, now that we know how eggs are hatched, let's get back into the episode.
My goodness. 2 notes in. I didn't mean to throw us off that much.
I mean, hatched is in the title of this book, so
it must be.
It's an important thing.
Oh my God.
Pay attention to how moons hatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It tells us on the title. You're right.
We solved it. Thanks for joining us for this podcast, everyone.
This is how you become an award-nominated podcast right here.
Oh my gosh. Okay. My last note for this diary entry is, again, very sad note that, quote, the sleigh can't make it up this far, so I built a snow hut to keep Hadion safe and warm while he sleeps himself better. I, again, really thought he was either already dead or about to die here. And so I just was like, I was just feeling, I don't know, I was feeling a lot of feelings for Elowen in this chapter. But then we switch back to Raves. Oh, go ahead.
I was kind of expecting your note to be something about sleigh again.
Well,
sleigh can't make it up this far, so I built a snow hut.
I can't slay all the way up here. He was supposed to slay there, though, he didn't.
He was gonna slay so hard. He must have slayed too hard.
Slayed too hard, broke his legs.
Oh my God.
Everyone's slaying out there.
We've all been there, am I right, girlies?
That's a t-shirt idea. It could be him like laying on the ground.
Oh no!
And it just says slay.
Slayed too hard.
It's spelled SLEIGH. Can we make that?
It could come out
literally
at Christmas
nobody
time.
would get it.
No!
And it could be him holding an egg, and that's where people would get the reference.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
You're welcome.
We're going to be billionaires.
A smaller image of like Elowen off to the side, like crying.
Oh, Jonathan!
That feeling when your brother slays too hard.
No, this is supposed to be sad. Connor is crying though. Oh, that was good. That was it. The thing is that all of our fans are going to actually ask for this merch because they're just as unhinged as we are.
If it's text only, Or just like a little igloo or something.
No,
Maybe
I
I
need
would
you to
consider
draw.
making it. No. Oh my gosh.
Amazing.
Oh, this was only the first chapter. There are tears coming out of
This
my
always
face.
happens to us.
Oh my god. It's been a while since we've had chapter 1 tears. Okay, so we move into chapter 17. This is Rave's POV. Thank you. And I forgot about that.
Please keep that going. Okay. Sorry. That's
Now
my
I
favorite.
need a tissue.
That's my favorite bit, and it better stay this whole effing book because it's so funny to me.
Chapter 17. At the start of the chapter, Rave is waking up after the events of the other chapter, and it says, I'm immersed in an icy sleep that's soft like a wispy tail bound around my body, drifting within the tide of nothingness. And I wrote, it's like that because it is that, Dragon Watch.
Dragon Watch. Nice.
But I called it Dragon Watch jokingly, but I actually stopped keeping track of all of my Dragon Watch notes because this is just canon in my head now. So I've decided to spare you all from most of them because there's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many.
I didn't put mine in from my very first read, but I did have one akin to my one, like, oh, it's interesting that the egg needs to be cold. And then, like, the chapter immediately after was like, oh, waking up from a dream where you feel surrounded by cold. That's interesting. And that was the only related note that I had for this section, really.
Interesting.
I just think it's funny that you said the events of the other chapter, but you mean the other chapter, not just like the other chapter.
I mean both.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this part was absolutely disgusting. The literal worst thing ever. Made me almost want to throw up because it was written so well as it's described throughout this entire chapters, but like so gross. Where she says she's running my tongue across my teeth. I feel a stringy piece of ... something wedged in the hairline gap between my sharp canine and the tooth right next to it. Shivering, I decide to not know what it is. And knowing what it most likely is, and then all the descriptions afterward is just so gross. So gross. And then she says, my gaze drops to my skin suit. And she's talking about how it used to be skin colored and now it is red. And like, because she's like covered in blood. And then she references the skin suit like a bunch of times. And it wasn't until the end of this chapter when Rek actually rips her clothes off to whip her that I realized that that was her outfit. And it wasn't just like this other something referencing her body as a skin suit. Like I was thinking it was whatever this other thing was referencing the human body it was wearing, not Rave talking about her outfit called a skin suit.
No, that's what it's her bodysuit that she always has on
Yeah.
under her dress.
Yeah. But I was thinking it was the other whatever
Under her
saying it
duplicate
was.
dresses.
She's a skinwalker.
She's like in a magic show where she just does like that quick change a bunch of times. So she's wearing like 7 outfits.
Yeah.
You know. It was
Now
like
I'm
at
gonna
the
call
end.
it a skin suit when I
It was like
wear
at the end.
shapewear or something.
I was like, oh, it's her outfit. Duh. My bad.
So I had mentioned this in the first chapter section, like the whole lake thing. It almost seems like it's a place that she goes to like put emotional things like down and like into the lake or whatever. It kind of she mentions it here again. It says, I peer internally, dropping toward my lake, jolting at the sight. The usually smooth, frosted expanse, now a litter of ice shards and upturned bergs spearing skyward. What a mess. And this is coming out of the other chapter. So it's like this clearly like kind of did something to that space in her head, which I think is an actual place. So it was just very interesting. I'm like definitely paying attention to whenever,
Dragon
she
Watch?
whenever she talks about her lake or whatever. So
it's because it's where the dragon lives.
out
That's
the
why it's a
window.
mess, John.
does it live in the water? Like what?
Yeah, it's under the ice and it came out and now it's a mess.
Does it say there's water under the ice?
It's usually where it is.
It's factual.
It's a frozen lake.
Really where you find it under the surface.
My frozen lake has the water adjacent to the ice. It's not really under, it's just off to the side.
In a separate, like dug a big hole, put the water in there, and then it's just the ice on top.
Let's just take Bikini Bottom and move it. Anyway,
Lauren's crying.
I just had a note on your note about like, I just love the idea of an inner picture of one's mind, and specifically having it upturned without your conscious notice.
Yeah.
It's something that I love to be like included in stories. I've included it in some of like my D&D campaigns or whatever, and it sort of makes me always wonder, like, thinking about characters, what their mind palace would look like when they go into their mind, and be like,
nice. I see
where
what you're
are
saying.
they exactly?
Mind Palace for one. Mind Palace for one.
And hers is an ice palace.
It is.
Yeah.
She's literally got one. She is Elsa.
But it's an ice palace for two because there's a dragon in there.
Okay, all right. We'll get there.
Connor.
We'll get there. My next note is when Rek tells Rave that she bit off his finger, and in her POV, she says, "That makes sense. So too does my aching jaw. I quietly hope I didn't swallow the tip, remembering past instances when I've blanked out, then come to with a bellyache and a weird gamey taste in my mouth. Best not to think about these things too hard." And I was just like, gross. Literally so gross.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
It's giving our favorite shapeshifter from another series.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Animorphs?
Yep.
Power Rangers?
Rave in this part of the chapter refers to the other as her inner psychopath, which made me laugh when she first mentioned it. But also, I want to know if she's ever tried to explain this to anyone or like investigate it further. Because she's always like, best not to think about it too hard, which honestly, that's fair. I just imagine like she had been with Essie, right, for a long time. I don't know if this ever happened while she was living with Essie, and if she woke up and Essie was like, dude, what the hell happened to you? Or if she was just, did she just tell him she was blackout drunk? Like, what did she say? How does she?
Yeah, if she told her friends, like, I have a psychopath in me, by the way, and they were just like, okay.
Okay.
I'm not going
It
to
comes out
refer
of my
you to
frozen
help.
lake.
Well, what did she say in the last chapter section? She was like something about like denial is where it's at.
A river in Egypt, yeah.
Yeah. Denial's where it's at.
Denial's where it's at.
I'm just not going to talk on today's episode. You guys suck. I was being for real. Like, she says something about, like, how it's better to just not think about it or forget whatever that line was. And Kyle was like, oh, yeah, that's me for sure. Whatever it was.
Was it the part where she was like, it's the stones that she builds up to hold against, I don't know, whatever, her emotional torment, blah, blah, blah. She was talking about emotions. I wasn't listening.
Oh, yeah. Ignorance is my self-preservation tonic. That's what she says. And so that's what this is, where she's even like, best not to think about it, or she does all these things, and she's just like, haha, this thing's happening, but we're just not going to dwell and move on.
My inner psychopath.
Yep.
She's just content living in ignorance.
Ignoring your mental issues does, to be fair, work like 30% of the time.
30% of the time, it works every time. Okay, I said I stopped keeping track of my Dragon Watch notes for the most part, but that's not true in this chapter.
In the same chapter.
I lied. Rek says, your eyes are different. They were black earlier. Now they're blue, which we heard happening with Sareem in the first chapter section, because the first time Sareem saw Rave, her eyes were also black. And then they keep changing. So her inner psychopath has black glittering eyes.
I think it's just the fluorescence, Connor.
Yeah, sure. Are you gaslighting me?
No,
Lauren Abigail?
No, she's
That's what
fluorescent
Edward-
lighting you.
That's what she said.
That's what Edward Cullen says whenever Bella notices his eyes. It's the fluorescence.
That's funny.
Must be that.
Oh, that's
Y'all
funny.
need to read
Must
Twilight
be.
and get my
Yeah,
references.
apparently we do.
Thank you.
Okay.
How is this name spelled again? The other name she used?
Kemor.
Did I say spelled?
You did. I was wondering what you meant. I was like, it's right in front of you, dude.
It's
Pronounced.
right there, bro.
How is it pronounced? Thank you.
It's Kamori Defadone, owner of the
Kemori
Dinsdale
Daffodone.
Defadone.
Your reference today are top notch. Good job, Kyle.
So when Rhett comes into her cell and he mentioned something before, and she was like, "Oh, he knows like all this information." And then he says, "Kamori Defadone, traveling bard from Orig. What's your real name?" And I was like, "Not so resourceful after all, eh, Rek?" Rec also says, your lips are tight now, but if they weren't so loose while you were speaking to the musician at the Hungry Hollow, you wouldn't be in this predicament and your friend wouldn't be dead. And she's thinking he's talking about Levy, which means, in turn, she handed you a ruined note I used to track down your living quarters. And when this happened, my jaw was on the floor. I was like, I did not see this coming. Like, this was very surprising. Like, she was very convincing.
When I think last episode you were saying that Levy would be her friend.
I know,
something.
bro. I did,
some
too.
note about her. Yeah.
Yep. I sure did. That she would, like, step in as kind of like Essie's replacement or whatever kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe still, probably not.
So I have a habit of stopping in really terrible places, and I stopped in like the middle of this sentence. And so I read, you wouldn't be in this predicament when he's like, mentions the musician at the Hungry Hollow. You wouldn't be in this predicament and your friend wouldn't be dead. And then I saw Levy. He's talking about Levy, which means I stopped reading right there. I thought Levy was dead. I thought he killed Levy. So I was really concerned at this point, but I had to stop reading and come back to it later. And then I was like, okay, she's not dead. He was talking about, in the same sentence, her friend.
You're so close to
So
the
I'm
end
glad-
of this chapter.
I know. I'm glad that Levy was not actually dead, but does that mean that Rec was the one that Levy was offering to escort Rave home also? Because Levy was like, my bound, he'll be here any minute. We should let us walk you home. Does that mean they were like working closely together and he was going to be like outside waiting for her? Or do we think that she was actually like married?
I mean, maybe. She
I
doesn't
mean, if it was a ruined note,
She doesn't give the information until after she says no, right? Like Rafe says no, and then she's like, okay, well, if you ever want to, whatever.
Yeah,
again,
but that's sketchy. Because he could have been waiting to meet her outside, and then she was like, no, and then Levy's like, okay, well, since you're saying no, then here's this ruined note so he can track your location. Maybe he was planning to meet her outside, but maybe not. I don't know. I
Which
just
also
didn't know.
means that Rec was in town before that night. Mm-hmm. Even though she didn't
That's
find
true.
out until like the next day or whatever that Rec was in town.
That's
Because
very
Rec would
true.
have had to have time to meet Levy and get her that ruined note or whatever.
Yeah. But I feel like Levy knew what it was, because then my next note was where she was thinking back to that conversation, and Levy had said, my details in case you want to perform together again. Her lips had molded into a sad smile the moment she'd said those words, like they tasted bad. Creators, ... I was like, ugh, I liked her so much. I really liked her a lot. I want to believe that this was just something that she was cornered into doing, and maybe she made a lot of money for it to help support her baby or something. I don't know.
Fake pregnancy belly. That's my thought.
You think she wasn't actually pregnant?
That's right. The whole thing was a ruse.
The whole thing's a sham. Okay, but my last note from this section is that we got confirmation here that Sareem does, in fact, have lots of people's blood in her little vial, because we weren't sure about that last week.
Yeah, and it makes this whole moment so tricky for Rafe, because I know she doesn't like super love Sareem, obviously, through like their whole backwards relationship, but to turn over Sareem would be then to basically enslave all of those people stuck in the vial to Rec or the Crown or whoever else would eventually be in charge. And so it's like that is like another way Sareem holds power over her, and like it's basically a way that whoever's in that vial won't turn her in, kind of a thing. Like it's like a whole nother layer of evilness that goes with that. Yeah.
Ugh. Okay, well, we did not have any notes for the next diary entry. That's one where Elowen is still 9 phases. So we're going to move into chapter 19, which is a Rave POV. Just one.
Just a quick one.
First of all, I just love the visual in the text here when Rave mentions her relentless shudder, and then in the text, it was like new paragraph lines where it finishes the sentence. So it says the relentless shudder that just won't stop. And they were like all on different lines. And I just like the way that was
It really is like that.
punctuated with snaps.
And everything.
My next note, I don't remember that we got any confirmation on this, but I would like to know who Rook's master is, because when Rave asked why he was locked up, he just said, to punish my master. And then we don't learn anything else about that. And then I was like, Con specifically came down there to see him, but now I don't remember what he was even asking Rook about. But I just want to know who that is.
I
What?
was asking about the moon shard.
What?
The moon. Well, I know he was asking about the moon shards, but I don't remember why.
Because he
Like,
wants
how
it.
did that conversation start?
I think he knew that he had, I guess, stolen it because he was like, last I heard, you were seen running off with a big old shard of the moon, and I really want that. But
Remember
Yeah.
from the glossary, it says that these creatures are good at sneaking in places and stealing things, and
Yeah.
they're hoarders. So
Yeah.
maybe their
Cute.
master collects random stuff like that and just hoards onto it or something. If it's the same type
Yeah.
of creature, maybe something like that.
yeah, it could be that since he was the one caught doing it, they couldn't really do anything to his master except take him away from him.
Yeah.
Sareem is his master.
Plot twist.
Dun, dun,
I mean, wouldn't put it past her. Last episode, we were wondering how the elemental beads were assigned, and we did get our answer here, and it's so sad. It's like a truth tune. We'll sift through these kids' minds to see if they can hear the songs. And then it says, there's always a carriage to the side waiting to swallow... Is that right? Waiting to swallow the freshly beaded conscripts and trundle them off to Drelgad for training. Always a churn of weeping parents buckling beneath the knowledge that they may never see their gifted children again. Always a pour of other younglings, freshly labeled nulls, leaving the tent with a bleeding ear, nursing the clipped flesh. That's all.
That's
Just
super
that
sad.
there was confirmation, but it's so sad.
Yep. And then she's offered food while in the prison, and I just think it's absolutely wild that she has to like sign for it. And it's like, should you ever make it out of here alive, you'll have to pay for every meal consumed. I was like, that's so savage, on top of everything else that super sucks, but okay. So but she signs her name Prisoner 73, and that's where we get another one of her little aliases, because she goes by Prisoner 73 for a lot of this little section. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, well, speaking of her meals that she has to pay for, they just kept saying the word gruel over and over, and every time they said it, I just kept thinking about Prison Mike from The Office.
He was the guy in the cell next door who kept eating all
You
the
would
food.
be the belle of the ball.
I love to ball. That's all. And then Rafe grits her teeth. So cheers, everybody.
I needed a drink. Thanks, Ray.
First tooth grit.
And she goes on to talk about where she is. It says, a cell I was born into, or just relating the cell she was into as one that she like grew up in. A cell I was born into in my own strange way, bonded with its walls and the smell and the female I shared it with. And a couple of questions that I had here. Was she born in the Undercity as part of like Tarek's reign? Like, was she once a child in one of his cells? I know Lauren agrees with me. Give me the thumbs up. If so, like, how did Sareem come to find her? That's just, I guess, just a general question anyway. But if she was, like, part of the kind of Undercity, that would also be very interesting, like how Sareem came to find her. Because I've always, since we met Sareem, I've always thought that maybe she kind of was not part of Tarek's whole thing, but she definitely, like... Well, I guess it would make sense that she knew about it, but maybe a little bit more than she just knew about it and knew what was going on. But because we don't get a ton of information about the cell yet or where she was. She mentions in this chapter section how she was like dragged out of her cell at some point, like later in the section. But
I will note here, though, this wording, because I think it plays into our theories for later. That it says a cell I was born into in my own strange way. I don't think this was her literal birth. I think this was the thing that we will talk about later.
Okay. That totally makes sense. I would agree with you. Yeah. Okay. We'll get to it.
Doesn't make sense to me because I don't know what we're talking about. But I guess we'll get to it later. So we jump to another diary entry from Eowyn. She's still 9 here. And she's talking about how Hadion will never walk again because his bones fused back together, but not in the right way. This guy is going through it. He's
The left way.
Oh,
Okay.
John.
Because it's broken.
Yeah, it didn't go the right way. It
Right.
went the left way. I'm with
2
you.
left feet, literally.
Yeah.
Can't walk.
Yikes.
Slayed too hard.
Yes, Lauren. Yes.
He's just like constantly sitting, giving blue steel to anyone who looks at him. Whoa, Hadia, come on. You know what happened last time.
The smolder.
Eowyn also mentions Hadion's moon plume may never fly because her wing, the word that they use is gammy because her wing is gammy. So just like, hurt, injured, whatever. And I wrote here, it made me think of the moon because she describes the moon as having a bad
wonky
wing
wing.
or whatever. And I was like, I think Con called it here. I think she's on to something.
Thank you.
And then shortly after is when Eowyn Well, yeah, I'll just read it. Yes, I then climbed on her back and held on really tight for really long until she listened to my soft song. But I just did what I had to do to get my brother home because the creators wouldn't sing to me no matter how much I begged them to help. Now they won't shut up. And this is another one. When I read this, I was like, dang, I was like not expecting this either. Because it's not like she comes off as like a scared little girl type of thing, but I'm just like, she freaking somehow hopped on to the back of this giant moon plume dragon when it was flying down doing whatever. Like, how did she even do that in the first place? And now all the creators are talking to her too, so a very quick change for her.
It's also interesting to me because we don't really know a lot about this bonding process other than that people like steal an egg and wait for it to hatch, but that it says until the dragon listened to Eloin's soft song.
Right.
And then suddenly Eloin could hear all of the creator songs.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't understand that. I don't know what my point is. I don't understand.
Like why that would be a connection.
Yeah.
Basically. Like why that would allow her to hear the creators or for the creators to like pay attention to her now or something like that.
Yeah. Or even in this bonding process that she would be the one to sing to the dragon.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
But both of those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
When it says creators, does that mean all of the creators, or is that?
They keep saying the 4 elemental songs, but obviously there is a 5th if the princess can like hear Ilis, right? Is that
Only
his name?
only if they wear.
If they're wearing it, but but that means he does have an elemental song technically.
Yeah.
So then, can she hear all 4 of them now? And then she's going to be wearing the diadem.
That's what that's what I assumed. Because that's kind of how it referenced. Did it reference her hearing all 4 of them, like later in our chapter section? Because it does talk about her hearing them again, I think, later. But I don't know if it says specifically like all 4. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
We might get there because I might have had a note on that.
I was about to say something and I can't remember.
A spinny wheel.
The rainbow wheel. Oh, I was wondering if there's only one diadem, obviously, of Kalis, but there are 3 kings. And so, like, how do they decide? Is it always someone from a specific line? Like, is it someone from one of the specific kingdoms? Like, it's always somebody from the Shade who's wearing the crown, because now it's the princess in the Fade, right? That is wearing it? Or is it the Burn?
Well,
It's the Fade, right? Because it's Khan's niece.
Yeah, I don't know where she's from. I don't remember.
She's in the Fade, I think, because it's the Fade King's like daughter. Yeah.
But
so the queen that she just saw, like in this chapter section,
not that queen.
Well, she's in the Fade.
Well, that's the queen, but he was talking to the princess, and the princess is the one currently wearing it.
I'm sorry, what? No. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Kadok is the king of the Fade. And the queen that we just saw was his wife.
What chapter was that?
Because that's in the Fade. But in Khan's POV chapter, he was talking to the princess, Kizari, and she has the diadem on, and she's talking to. She like fell in love with Kalis.
Oh, bro, I totally forgot about that.
So that was why I was wondering, like, why Eloin didn't wear the diadem before her mother died. Like, is there a specific age where they're supposed to wear it, or I don't know.
Well, and wasn't Kizari wearing it like when she was born? Because she had it when she was a baby.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I was questioning why Eloin wasn't wearing it.
Yeah, because I guess technically at the end of that one chapter section, in her POV, it says, I will eventually wear it, if only to get closer, blah, blah, blah. So she doesn't technically, we don't technically know like when she starts to wear it, if at all.
Yeah, but they're in the Shade, right? Eloin is in the Shade.
Yes.
So I'm just wondering
But
how it passes
isn't it-
down. Like,
Most
It's in the
powerful.
female line, and these are all male kings or whatever. So maybe I don't know. Maybe it's like somehow the male line has split the kingdom or done the thing, but it's staying within this one female bloodline specifically, not their other wives. These guys who get married to other,
well, and it's also someone who's like blessed by the gods with the power to hold it. So it might, I guess it might not have to be a bloodline, because when they initially made the diadem, they just like picked somebody who was like powerful and they just blessed them with the power to.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it's been in that bloodline since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is said.
yeah.
In the
That's like
I
the
thought
line
it
of
was said in the
power.
prologue.
Yeah. It's just interesting to me that it would change like kingdoms or whatever you want to call that.
It is confusing for sure.
You know what? I bet it'll make sense.
Yeah.
I actually don't remember.
I mean,
keep reading.
honestly, if all of the kings had their queens on the throne, I think we'd pop champagne and raise a toast. We can move on.
Can you just play that song, editor?
Chapter.
It's from Lauren's show choir show.
Is it?
Oh, JK
yeah.
never actually used that song.
Oh,
You almost did though. Yeah.
It was listed in my song before we got into it, and then I cut it.
kitty kitty.
Cuddy cuddy.
Oh, 10 minutes later.
Chapter
Yes,
21.
Chapter 21, Rave chapter. Rave's game of guessing. Oh, sorry.
Here's your
On my
job,
face. Well, yeah, I can't do it if I'm the one doing a note, though. It's a backup.
Stop having notes.
Really simple note. I just said that Rave's game of guessing which water drop is the next to fall was so relatable. I'm sure it's not just me. Like, who else used to have raindrop races on car rides when we were young? Or possibly still now on the front windshield. Probably should be paying attention to the road, but I still
While
track the raindrops.
driving, I'm terrified.
What else am I going to do?
I'm going to die.
When all you can see is raindrops.
Okay. That's great.
It is relatable, though. I really liked that scene
Yeah.
where she was just like, dang it, when she was wrong about which one she was betting on.
Well, and she was like hearing a noise, and she was like, in between all of that was like, and it's definitely going to be this other one on the other side. And it just like kept going through all her thoughts. Like it never left her. It was good.
I loved it. When we took our kids to the beach a few weeks ago, was that a few weeks ago? That was a month ago. That was over a month ago. When we took our kids to the beach last month, they loved watching the birds. Like there would be like little formations of birds that would fly by, and they kept calling it. They would go, "It's a bird race."
Cute.
They kept telling us there was a bird race. It was so funny. Reminded me of this.
They had like a whole betting ring around the corner. They're like seeing which kid would win. Which
They
bird.
honestly, they would if
It's just Daisy over there
Those
holding
kids.
everybody's money, like keeping track.
Zoe's directing traffic. Get in line.
So good.
That's how that would go down. In Rave's POV, though, when Con shows up and it says a voice I recognize, I went, "Hey-o!" So excited. But then she said something about, she was like referencing a previous chapter section where she had her dagger like pressed up against Con's crotch. And the wording here, it says, "with my iron blade pressed to his member." And I wrote, "not his member."
Just because it used the word member?
Just the word member.
All right.
Why are we calling it that? It's
Yeah.
making me nervous.
Because she remembers it.
Hey-o.
She remembers it. Oh, that's funny.
Also plays into our thoughts and theories later.
Does. Does.
Whoa. Remembering things or his member?
Both.
All right.
And this is when he is talking to Rook. He says, "Because someone I'm acquainted with saw you scurrying for the nearest sewer with a moon shard in your mitts." And from like chapter, I think like 20 or something up to, I didn't take notes for my recap. So I was going back, and this was on my second read through this. I wasn't like for some reason, I wasn't putting like the moon shard. Like I just kind of glossed over that. I was just like, "Oh, a moon shard. Yeah, sure." But then I was like, hold on a second. A moon shard. A piece of a fallen dragon mood? I think so. And it got me really excited for what this might mean. It's a moon shard. It's not his member. Calm down. I'm so excited to talk about
We
his
are all so sassy with each other today.
goodness.
I'm just giggling because my next note is in Rave's POV when Con was about to leave without noticing her. And then it says, when he stops, drawing a deep sniff on the air, his head turning my direction, slower than a setting aurora. And I was like, he keeps scenting her. Oh my God.
It's giving Anthony Bridgerton in that one scene where she comes out of the carriage or whatever, and he like turns to breathe her in. You know what I'm talking about? So good.
I'm shocked that I don't know what you're talking about because I love
It's like
him.
such a viral scene. Everybody will know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Everybody.
It's just a saved video that she replays on her phone over and over again. This is viral.
It's such a big moment where Kate comes out of the carriage and he like turns to like smell the air she was in or whatever. and he gets like caught doing it and then tries to like play it off all cool and stuff. But
So like,
That's hot.
it gives Pride and Prejudice with the like hand flex. It's like the same
Yeah.
energy.
gotcha.
Anyways, just
It
freaking
does.
read a book
When you-
once in a while.
When
Know
you
what I'm
describe
talking
it
about.
though, and you're saying like, yeah, she comes out of the carriage and this guy smells the seat she was in, that sounds
that.
awful.
I said the air that she passes by. He like helps her out of the carriage. He sticks
I'm just
his
saying,
face
if
down
I-
in the cushion. And
If I saw
Ew,
anybody walk
gross.
by and somebody sniffed the air behind them, they're immediately on the creep list forever. That's all I'm saying.
it's cute. Okay, yeah. But everybody who actually cares will know.
If you ever need to set Lauren off, Kyle, just bring
that's
that
what
up.
Don't come after Anthony Bridgerton.
I'll just be like behind Lauren going, wow. You like that though, right? When people smell behind you.
Notice how John's not saying anything about this because he does that with my shampoo.
I mean, I would get like if someone walking by with a fresh shampoo, you're like,
right
yeah, this hair
now.
smells nice.
I do.
I do not
When I get out of the shower, you specifically like the Pantene shampoo, and you always tell me how much you like the way it smells after I shower.
I think there's a difference though between
See, romance.
saying the way you like someone's shampoo smells and just sniffing the air behind
Oh my
them.
God, I'm going to send you guys this scene and you're going to see how dumb you're making it. It is so cute and romantic. And that's what's happening here with Con. Let's bring it back to the book.
Yes,
He
it's
smells the air and he like knows it's her and it is
Yeah.
hot. Thank you.
I mean, she probably smells terrible.
I was gonna say she
but
smells like
still.
crap, but yeah.
Well, they probably did in like the 1800s too.
Yeah, well,
With Bridgerton.
Yeah, that's fair.
Speaking of Con smelling rave, I just had to note here when he says, "Come forth into the light." I don't know. This made me chuckle for some reason. Just how he phrased this, "Come forth into the light." I'm like, why is he talking like this all of a sudden? She's never written like this before.
And then they just have some really cute banter when she says, "Who died and made you king?" And he goes, "My pa. He dead pants." And it's like, I knew he's actually the king or whatever, which is just really funny. And then can we talk about how he breaks the effing padlock with his bare hands? Okay.
hot.
Yeah,
So
his
hot.
bare hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, those bare hands.
There's no argument for this one. That is hot.
Yeah.
See Anthony
I'll stamp
Bridgerton
of
do that.
approval.
And then Rave is speaking to him. She says, "Hate to break it to you like this, but I'd never seen you before that slumber on the south side of the wall." And Khan replies, "For your sake," he growls, stalking forward, packing the space full of his massive presence. "I hope you're wrong." And I'm like, I've been like really trying to guess this, like basically like who she is, which again will be in our thoughts and theories.
Thoughts and theories.
More
Can't wait.
in our thoughts and theories.
You guys
Stay
are building
tuned.
up a
Scrub
lot
forward.
of over the thoughts and
we
theories.
got suspense for you.
Yeah.
Clearly.
And that's it.
That's the thoughts and theories. Suspense. That's awesome.
Okay, so Khan finally sees Rave's whole face for the first time, and it says his brows collide, a choked sound slips out of him like his lungs forgot how to work. He lifts a trembling hand as if to cup her face, his stare blazing back and forth across Rave's face. He's completely baffled, and then he starts tripping over his words. John.
Thank you for the visual description.
You're welcome.
The
Yep,
visual
I
really
thought
was
that might
great,
help.
yeah,
Yeah.
for our YouTube audience. So he's like completely baffled, and then he starts like stumbling over his words, and he's like, "How?" And then he literally punches the stone wall and bellows, "How?" So I know that now he has his own dragon, but when I first read this, I was wondering if he was somehow bonded previously to the dragon that is obviously canonically inside of Rafe, since he keeps like scenting her. But then John said he thinks that Khan may have known Rave before because of his next note, and I now agree. So this is where we were starting to get into our thoughts and theories.
A little bit.
Take it away.
A little bit. So, yeah, a little bit past this part, it says a scar that can be seen by dragon flame. This is when he like puts it up to her or whatever. It says the only substance in existence that can ignite a trail of long ago runes and unearth their glowing ghosts. And a couple notes here for me, I was like, so she clearly had like a major head injury at some point and now doesn't remember who she used to be. And when he sees the scar and then kind of sees like that she's been mended, he says, "Your head, you've been mended." And in her POV, it says mended, such a funny word, signifying the end of something. And I was like, end of her previous life or previous identity, perchance? So yes.
Coincidence? I
think not.
I am loving this tag team though of the notes.
Yeah, we talked
Like,
we talked for a
yeah.
while about it last week or
It's
last
been
night.
fun. We did. Yeah, we talked for a long time about this. So
Reading books together, isn't it?
I know.
So there's more banter here that I love, and a lot of this chapter made me laugh, but Con says, "Your eye, what happened?" And Rafe says, "Tripped on a stone." And he says, "Did it reach up and punch you in the face?" I just love the deadpan from him. It's so good. And then Con says, "Who are you protecting, Moonbeam?" And this is the first time he calls her that, and I freaked out because I have heard this name before. This is like one of the only things that I had heard before starting this book, and I don't know what it means. And I don't know if this is just an affectionate nickname that he's given her or if this is the name of the dragon that is in the frozen lake.
It's actually a really
laughing
big
now.
slur. He should not be saying that to her.
Gosh, hey-o.
She is
Ruin it,
so
Kyle.
pale. She's so pale.
Yeah.
And
just
assumedly
making
he's
fun of her
tan
the whole
if
book.
He's from the burn. So.
Yeah.
It's not how he says it. Moonbeam.
No.
Are you protecting Moonbeam?
She's like, oh my God.
Oh, no,
Wow.
it's cute.
Okay. Anyway,
not.
yes, I think it's adorable. I don't know what it means, but I think it's cute. And I was just freaking out because I've heard Moonbeam before, but I really don't have any context for it. I've heard like one line and I still have no idea what that means. So
Fenris.
Yeah, it's Fenris. She's just Fenris.
she lost her memories. She was Fenris before.
That's right.
And that's the other, is just his.
It's the White Wolf of Dornell, everybody.
We solved it.
Oh man.
Oh,
Back it
that
up.
What a
is
crossover.
amazing. Okay, so from Rafe's POV, she's trying to piece together who this guy is because she doesn't know officially that it is Con yet. And she starts like going through, all she knows is he is a king. And so she says that she's seen the king of the Fade. And so she knows the other two is one is the king of the shade, is even to be more rotten than this kingdom. If rumors are anything to go by, the cold shadowed expanse governed by King Tyroth Vagor, and describes him as a cruel prince with a cruel king with a heart said to fester from the loss of his queen. So that's just interesting lore about Tyroth. And then we also get this information about Con, which some to believe to be true, I guess, for what we know about Con, or what is maybe not true, I don't know, with saying, "Few who venture deep into the sunny part of the world return to tell the tale," talking about the burn, though it's said its king, Con, is savage and bloodlusting, that Rhaegon, his ancient saber scythe, was too big to fit in any of the city's hutches the last time he came to Gore, that he lets the beast hunt freely across his kingdom, firing cities with his blazing breath and feasting on his folk, whom he cares little about. So obviously we know, like, Rhaegon is freaking huge and all the things. And now she's heading to, like, we end this where she's heading to the capital of the burn. And this is the only information about it that we have. So it's going to be great.
Yep. And then as she's heading they're taking her to the trial. Yes. And he's like they're like going back and forth still as like the guards are kind of like starting to take her. And Rave says that Con can get back to hunting moon shards. And Con steps in close, and from her POV it says, "The world around us fades into oblivion as he looks upon me with such a fierce intensity, I almost forget how to breathe." And Con says, "Not much point anymore since I found the most important piece." Oh,
What was
and
that?
Jumping
this
up and down.
this is kind of when this one sent me into the spiral. And this was another one where I had read this the first time, reading all the way through. I hadn't taken any notes for my recap, and I went back and I was like, oh my gosh, because I remember reading it the first time and I was like, the most important piece of what? I tried to like think about it for a couple seconds and I'm just like, whatever, I don't know what he's talking about. And then the second time I went through, I put that a little more together. I was like, they were just talking about moon shards. He found the most important piece of a moon or a moon shard. Like, this is kind of when I went through, she is either the dragon that fell or she has a piece of the dragon that fell like in her somehow, or like she is a moon shard, or like
Thank you.
she's like the main piece of the moon that fell.
She's the main piece.
His
like
piece. Ain't no side piece. Tell you
his
that.
piece, that's right. Because like after this, because we don't really know the timing yet of like when the moon fell, like coming from the prologue.
Right. Yeah.
So with some of like this information, I'm assuming that it has already happened at some point, like after Elowen's story that we're reading, and then like to the time we picked up with Rave at like the start of the book. So I'm thinking we'll probably read maybe in like the Elowen diary chapters about the moon falling, or maybe that's like the end of the book or something, is like kind of toward the end of the book is when like the moon falls in like Elowen's story. Yeah, like meets in the middle, you know, the end of Elowen's story, and like with the moon coming down anyway.
I would assume if they're hunting moon shards, they wouldn't be doing that like 5 million phases after the last one fell. So
Yeah.
makes sense. Thoughts and theory.
That's a lot of thoughts and theories, John. Good job.
Oh yeah. We'll get to it.
Chapter 22, Rave. Thank you. I just wrote some of my favorite moments of her in this chapter because I freaking just love her so much, and her banter is hilarious. And this is during her like court case or whatever, like her trial. And it says, I cut a glance to the leering nobles. Oh, apologies, I say, my voice echoing through the vast space. Forgot to bathe for our very important date. Silence. Never mind, prisoner 73, I mutter in a forged baritone. We know you've had a lot on your plate. I just thought that was so funny. Her like playing like she's having this conversation with them and stuff. And then when she's like getting read a list of all of her things and stuff, she says, have you ever wished that the ground would split and chew on your enemies? Guess my dream came true. Lucky me. And then the truth tune's like, not a lie. So funny.
And she's like, thank you.
See?
I feel like those are moments the truth tune waits for. Like, I can chime in and be sassy with her
Yeah.
and still be doing my job.
So good.
Yeah, I was chuckling at this next part too, because the Chancellor says, you, self-appointed as prisoner 73, are hereby charged for the murder of 23 soldiers of the crown. And she cuts him off and says 25. And he goes, excuse me? And in her POV it says, if he's going to read out my charge, he might as well get it right. And I wrote, this is such a Kyle-coded response.
I just wrote that I felt called out. Accurately called out, but still called out.
Yeah, it made me laugh. And then John mentioned this in his recap, but this dude just comes out and starts flopping flaps of preserved flesh on the ground that they dug out from wherever Rave dumps her bodies. And it's disgusting, but I just kept laughing at the wording because it just kept using the word like flopping and like slabs of meat around. I don't know why that was so funny, but it was just like, I don't know, it made it. I feel like it was just the vibe of like what Rave was going through in the moment. Like it was
equally as
so
ridiculous as she was acting.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That's what I loved about it. So good.
When it was the flopping like
Slabs.
yes, the whole bit.
Flaps of flesh. And then he says, and this was your ... handwriting when you signed for your rations. He says, a bemused look in his cruel eyes. If you could even call it that, I'm certain my youngling could do a better job, and he's barely out of the crib. And they all start like laughing and jeering at this. But this is so rude if John's actually right about her having some kind of amnesia and relearning speech and writing like in a cell. And that just made me feel so bad for her. I know none of that is like solid evidence at this point, but I just was feeling a lot of sympathy for her in this moment.
And like the art of the writing in the book, I had to like look back and check. I was like, that's good writing. What is this guy talking about?
Yeah, because when she writes Prisoner 73, it looks like a different font, almost like some of the art
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, and it shows up a few times. And I was like, that's decent. Who's your kid? Like master of calligraphy toddler over here. The next Huan Xizhong.
Oh my God.
He was a famous calligraphist.
All right.
Is calligraphist a word?
I don't know. I just sort of made that one up on the fly. Calligraphist? Calligraphist? Me? I don't know.
Calligrapher? I don't know.
No.
But
I'm Googling it.
in John's chapter recap, he did ask, like, where did they get these bodies? And
Calligrapher.
Is it just the bodies, the 25 that she just killed? Like, obviously it doesn't like tell us that she sat there and carved. Well, I guess she couldn't because Rick got her. So yeah, they had to be old bodies. Were they just collecting them? Like, it's a valid question.
So
How
gross.
did they even find them?
Yeah. Or like
Was somebody tracking her? And this is where I think I'm even more suspicious of Serene. Because like, how did they even find the bodies?
Yeah.
Because it's not like, I feel like she didn't dump them in the same place.
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
I mean,
Well, she sort of referenced throwing things to the trog, right? The trog.
No. Yeah.
yeah,
Because
maybe.
if they were just wandering around with them and they were like, "Hey, found some Ted guy that was written on," and they're like, "Oh,
that's
dang, yeah."
Yeah,
They are sentient beings.
that's very possible.
But yeah, the fact that I assume took the time to like fillet the meat off so they could easily take it to the court was wild.
That is wild. By the way, calligrapher and calligraphist are both correct.
I love being technically correct.
It's the best kind of correct.
Dylan.
Biggest eye roll ever.
It does say calligrapher is more commonly used.
I was
but
gonna
they
say
can-
like any English teacher would be like, "You're correct, but you're not the most correct."
any English teacher if they were Kyle.
Yeah.
That was all my English teachers, which might be why I'm the way I am, honestly.
Where are we? Oh, this was, I guess, related to my last note because there is a little piece from her POV that says, I learned to write with a piece of coal on the ground of a cell, and no matter how hard I try, I can't stop my words from looking like I'm still scratching them upon the stone. So even if it's not, I mean, it's still so sad. I love her so much.
And then they vote for if she's gonna like die by dragons, and freaking Con is the like deciding vote by one. And I was especially mad on my first read. Like, what the F, Con? Like, what's the plan here? What is this guy? Because you don't know that it's Con, I guess. So it's like, whatever. And then, I don't know. It's just wild. And then you see his whole plan play out, and it's just so cool.
I was excited about it.
I was not. I was like, this
I was like,
jerk.
oh, he's cooking up something. He's going to get her out of there.
All right, moving on to chapter 23, another rave chapter here. And this is after the whole council thing. Rave's on her way back to the cell, and she like passes another cell, and she sees like this kid that she recognizes, and she's like thinking back to where she'd seen him before. She says, I'd given him an elding orb, asked if he'd wanted my help in any way. He'd pushed the orb back into my palm and told me he wanted to do it himself. And I was like, do what himself? What is up with this orb, bro? Like, what is this thing?
He's like, I don't want this little glass orb. It's gonna break. Keep your keep your glass orb.
Can't keep
I
it
don't want
safe.
your materia.
Dangerous.
Stupid.
Then this is the first time.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yes. Amazing. Thank you.
Then this is her first reference of her calming song. It said, I tap my hand against the floor to the beat of my calming song. And we don't really, I guess, learn what this is. I have a note later, too, where she talks about how she was humming the ballad of Falling Moons. So I don't know if that's the song she's referencing as her calming song, or if it's something else and we just don't really know what it is. Just from how she talks about the ballad of the Falling Moon and how, like, emotional she was and crying and all the things, I'm like surprised if that's her calming song, but like maybe, I don't actually know. I do just love though her connection like to music and how like music is helping her through all of this as well, and just like humming a little tune to herself and whatever is really cute because she does it a couple times while she's in the cell, and I love that.
I guess I was assuming anytime she said this, she was talking about the Ballad of Falling Moons, but
That's
I don't know either.
I guess my guess, because it's the only song we know of, but also gets mentioned here. I guess until she's in the Saber Scythe's mouth and she sings or has that little song or that little moment. So
Yeah. It's also like interesting that it's just the beat of the song. I mean, I assume she's like mentally singing the lyrics or something, but just like
I do that with my
tapping
fingers.
her-
I'll play the piano
Yeah.
when I'm just thinking or
Yes,
doing
yeah.
something.
I guess I was picturing her just like tapping her foot in like a 1, 2, 4, that sort of thing.
My final note here for chapter 23 is when she's back in her cell, she's kind of like reminiscing, thinking of like, her about to die by dragon, basically. But she says, love the feel of fallen snow peppering my skin and the way a frosty southburn breeze nips at my nose, numbing the tip of it like an icy kiss. And at first, when she was like kind of talking through this, I thought that she was remembering the previous life that she clearly had. But I did forget that it does snow in the Fade. And then we got a little bit of that when she in her interaction with Tarek and stuff. But in addition to this, it has mentioned her pale skin a time or two. So I think there's something here, possibly, from where she's really from or who she really is or something. So again, there'll be more on that later.
Thoughts and theories. Okay, next up is another diary entry with Elowen Navon, but now she has 18 phases, and I was not expecting the time jump here. That was kind of crazy. I had to pause at first, and I highlighted the title of the chapter, and I was like, whoa.
Well, and I like that the audiobook narrator's voice changes too, from the little kid voice, and now she sounds more like young adult, young woman kind of a thing.
Yeah, I like that. And then I was kind of freaking out at this connection that I did not put together until I was doing the pronunciation guide, that Austern, this is when Austern shows up to marry Elowen off to one of his sons. And he was talking specifically about Tyroth, who is now the king of the Shade. Right? Yeah. So this was the first connection for me in these timelines. They're just, I know you can see the number of phases, but it was just feeling more connected for me now because I know they live a long time and all of that. So Austern is Tyroth's father. So that led me to start wondering if because she had refused Tyroth, did they marry her off to Con instead? And then she lost all of her memories and then became Rave. But we have more thoughts on that now, thoughts and theories, because this was before I had kind of revisited the events of the other chapter. So now that we have some more information, I think my thoughts on this have changed. But that was just kind of a crazy gasp moment for me going back through everything.
Yeah, but shout out to Elowen's pa for saying that Tyroth was a bad choice and is a jerk or whatever, and supporting her and not just being one of those dads that's you must do it for the family or something like that.
True.
He's clearly looking out for his daughter for his life that ends obviously, but for the time that he was there, R.I.P. Elowen's pa. And everything with Hadeon makes me so sad, as much as we joked about him today, because it says, I asked Hadeon if he'd like to come with me to the hutch to see the dragons, but he stared at the wall like he always does. I accepted long ago that he never came home from Netherin. Not really. I swore I wouldn't leave him there, but I did. It's just really sad because it's been obviously a long time since then, and he's still not okay. So
yeah,
really sad. And that jumps us back to chapter 25, back with Rave. Thank you. And this is where she's talking about the Ballad of the Falling Moon, where she says she taps against the floor while I hum soft and low. Ballad of the Falling Moon, whipping through the otherwise eerily silent cells. And then I think Con walks in, so she stops her song really fast. But yeah, I guess it would have to be that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they have some more banter here. It ends with her saying, he tells her to get up, and she says, die in a ditch, or better yet, a coliseum, getting feasted on by a flock of molten malls. I'll meet you there. And then her head, she calls him an a-hole, and then it says, I sponge a little satisfaction from his rumbling sigh. I was I felt this sigh so deep. He's just trying to help her, and she's just suck it, whatever, I hate you. And he's just this chick.
But she just gets satisfaction from it, which is the total opposite of
she knows he's grinding his gears. She'll be grinding something else later. I can only assume.
Speaking of which, my next note is Con says, I'm not that sort of monster, prisoner 73. I would not take pleasure from you were it not given freely. And I wrote, consent king.
Oh my God.
And
oh yeah.
Yeah, this continues. He says he's still trying to get her going to do something or get up or whatever. He says, your choice, make it. And she says, I did make a choice. You took it from me, talking about his vote in the council thing or whatever, her trial. And he said, because it was the wrong one. He reaches out as if to grip me around the shoulders. A snarl rips up my throat, and I snap my teeth at his fingers. I'm doing it. And he says, then do it. And she says, not until you turn around. And I was like, can we please make a clip of this audio as if we were speaking to our children? Please. Like, I felt this so deeply as well. I'm like, this is literally, I have this conversation multiple times a day with my kids.
This
It's
is
like,
life with toddlers.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I'm doing it. Then do it. Not until you turn around. I'm like, this is the absolute gold. And then when he takes her to the room with Bia, she makes an observation that the room lit by a jar of captured moonlight. And I was just like, what the hell does that mean? It's like, is this a thing? Like, what is that?
Yeah. Well, and then we get him talking about his wield that he shows earlier with like the dragon sight. And she's like, you have to leave it at the door. And he says, I have 3 moonbeam. And she says, the one with dragon flame. And so he like throws it and she like chucks it down the hallway or whatever. So we know the one is dragon flame. And then I guess in my head, I thought it was the moonlight that you were just talking about, but maybe that is just in a jar that lit the room, not in the wield. So now I'm wondering like what's in the other 2 that he would have. And then we don't know. All we know is that like Con is strong with Boulder, that he could like destroy an entire city, or at least that's like his reputation that she knows him by. So is it like the other gods or like the other powers or something that he would want to carry around, or?
Because we know he has, I'm wondering if one of them is fire, because we know he has a little bit of Ignos affinity, because he was able to
dragon flame, right?
No, because he called the flame from the lantern in her cell down into his palm.
Oh.
To like try and see her face at first, but for all we know, he could kind of be like how she is with Boulder, and how he only knows like maybe a few words or something. So maybe he likes to carry around like some extra fire stuff, but.
And the last one's just a straight up gun.
Single bullet, one time use only.
Oh my God.
Your name's not the one written on the bullet.
It'd be interesting if he had ice though, coming from the burn.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's true.
I was thinking, I mean, he might not have air. He maybe it's water.
Keep his food refrigerated.
One thing that I was wondering about them was they obviously contain like pieces of the elemental power to use. But has it ever been explicitly stated if like you have to also have that affinity, or if someone who had an affinity for Boulder could be like, oh, here's like, I'll just fill up this wield and then I'll give it to you. It's all loaded up, ready to go. I
was thinking of it like in Avatar, how the waterbenders always have that little like sack of water, so that they always have water available, even though they're in like the Fire Nation and there isn't water available. You know what I'm talking about? So
yeah, that's pretty much only the waterbenders that have to do that, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying like maybe it is something where there's not, and they can't create it themselves. They have to bend whatever it is or whatever with the gods. So like maybe they have to have water, and so they bring it around in one of these little wheeled things, or fire,
or just convenient,
whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So Rave walks in and notices that Bia, this girl that's in the room, can flesh thread, which is both a very cool power and a very cool name for the power. But Rave saying this had better be a threesome really caught me off guard with there was like all this beautiful descriptive language of like the space and everything that was going on, and I'm taking it all in, and then she walks in and says that, and I just laughed out loud.
I really enjoyed his response to it as well, where he was like, I'm not one to share, but if that's what you really want, it could be arranged once your back is healed. Just like following right along. I was like, I'm not really that into it, but sure. I mean, compromise. Important.
Now is not the time, but maybe later.
Consent king.
Consent king. Exactly. Thank you. Okay. And then this was sort of a bond watch of some kind, I guess, if you want to call it that. It says, as though physical strings knot around my ribs stretch across the room and tether to his, making it impossible for me to draw a single breath without him noticing. And my note in all caps was, there is an existing bond here of some kind.
Some kind of bond.
Some kind of bond.
Yeah, and kind of in the same conversation here, Rave says to him, there is no reality where I'd willingly you. And I wrote narrator.
What? I think your mic cut out.
No, well, yes, it did. For the word.
Oh, got it.
The F word.
Vacuum.
Oh.
Where I'd willingly fork you. And my comment here, I wrote as a narrator, she didn't know how wrong she'd turn out to be.
But then I wrote, okay, but what if she already has because of our thoughts?
I honestly didn't know whose voice that was for a moment.
It was his facial expression when he did it for me.
He does this to me all the time.
Oh, does he?
Okay. All right.
Okay, then Rave grinds her teeth again. Cheers, everybody.
Take a drink. Let it cool off for a minute.
Seriously.
I actually really need an ice pack. Hold on.
Oh,
Okay, cool. I'm going to bring Goldie in.
alone at last.
We meet again.
Okay, my next note is just that I want to know the secrets. I want to know what Bia was gasping at when she looked at Rave. I want dragon sight.
Yeah, and I added to this, I said, to kind of go into what you're talking about, it says this Rooney doesn't need dragon fire to ignite the trail of past runes because she's blessed with dragon sight. She can see them with her own eyes, meaning she's seeing, quote unquote, everything. And I wrote, what does this mean? And I also noted that, like, we don't know anything about runes either. Like, we have an idea of the capability of what they can do, like with Essie, but what about like runes apparently in or within the body? Because that's kind of inferring that she maybe has like a rune within her, or like maybe that was somehow used to like mend her for something. So for healing, is flesh threading and mending like two different talents or skills? Like, are they separate things? I don't know.
I will say that I feel like overall in fantasy so far, and perhaps this book will be the exception, because I feel like her lore is so detailed and deep that she would be like writing about an animal and be like, oops, that's not indigenous to this region. What am I thinking? But like, I feel like runes are generally like a trust me word. Like, you write about words in fantasy, and in general, it's like you're just supposed to trust it's some sort of magical language that can do special things. But I do feel like if anyone was going to change that, it would be Miss Sarah A. Parker and her glossaries and guides and everything.
Yeah.
My next note is when they're starting the flesh threading process, and Rave says, you know this is pointless, right? And Con says, not to me, he rumbles, then takes my hands in his big sturdy ones, and I wrote, okay, I love him.
Yeah, and in the same moment, or like right before this, actually, it says, he reaches around to gently tuck the drape of material around my hips so it's not agitating my ragged flesh. And I was like, oh, an intimate gesture. Oh.
And then after that moment, she has this moment with him and says, I'm still intent on killing you if given the chance. And it says, I warn past clenched teeth. Drinky drinkies.
Ooh, I missed one. Drink.
And he's like, yeah, I know. yeah. I got it.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, got it.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then Con says, revenge is the loneliest deity of them all, Moonbeam. Take it from someone who knows. And my note just says, what does this mean?
What does it all mean?
Probably that he's like gone down the path of revenge before.
Yeah, thank you. Wow. So
sorry for the mansplaining.
That makes sense.
I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
Okay, and then I have a quote from Rave's POV here. It says, perhaps because I'm used to doing this without an audience, besides the Rooney fixing me new, without somebody else timing their breaths to my own as though reminding me to breathe, without somebody else tightening their grip on my hands every time I flinch, wiping the sweat from my brow, rubbing tracks across my... Kyle, what the...
He's having us all. He's having us all time our breaths together.
He's doing the labor coaching.
Oh my god. Okay, let me finish
To
my
be clear,
quote, please.
he did not do that to me whenever I was in labor.
That's
Just
good.
to be clear.
I just drank coffee and said, you got this.
That's actually 1000% how it went.
And she did have
That's
it.
not an exaggeration.
Oh no, there's a bug. Oh.
Dead him.
Is it indigenous?
Dead him. Yeah.
I did. Okay, now I'm going to finish my quote.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Without somebody else tightening their grip on my hands every time I flinch, wiping the sweat from my brow, rubbing tracks across my blanched knuckles as if to calm my rioting heart. And I wrote, he's so gentle. I love him so much.
Is it
This
just
all
because
it
he has
takes
the
to
same
win me
name as
over,
you?
I guess. Well, that's part of it. The rest of it is this. Yes.
Just the only con I knew before the podcast was the Star Trek one.
Yeah, he didn't know you from college. He didn't know you from our friendship. He's only known you since the podcast.
I knew you in
Well, nobody
theory.
called me Con then.
That's fair.
That's true.
I also just knew you like theoretically by way of stories. Like she told me about her friend Connor, and I was like, she could be lying. I've never seen this person before.
She literally stayed in her house for
I know.
several days after Emma was born.
Oh, I met in college.
Came to your wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm just kidding. I kind of knew you, I guess.
I guess.
Anyway, after this little scene where she's, talking about all this good stuff he's done for her, she says, "It doesn't matter how much of my skin is smoothed or how deep he kneels at my feet. I'm still an assassin marked for execution come Aurora rise, and he's still a tyrant king." And in my head, it was giving, she was a girl, he was a boy. Can I make it any more obvious?
Complete with the GIF in the notes, by the way, of Avril.
Yeah.
Avril Lavigne.
This is one of my favorite references you've ever made, I think.
Really?
And you sang it. Good job.
That was one of
Big
the
Avril
easiest
fan,
ones I've
yeah.
ever made.
Is she like under a bridge or something? Like,
I don't know. It's the 90s.
Yeah,
I
she was
think
pretty
so.
underground in that
It was
era
not
of
the
her
90s.
music.
This was the early 2000s.
It's the early
Lauren.
2000s.
what
Lauren,
was that like?
the early 2000s or Under a Bridge?
Either one.
I've never been either. To be completely honest, the early 2000s were the 90s.
Yeah.
What?
Like, because if I was born in 1990.
Actually, Kyle.
I was born in 1990, all right? That's exactly how old I am. And frankly, the first 5 or 6 years of my life was still the 80s dying. The 90s happened later and bled into the next decade, which I think happens with every decade. You have the influence of the past one sort of at its peak, and then it takes like 3 or 4 years to die and let the new decade really show up.
Okay. Yeah. I can get behind that.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah.
right.
I mean, I believe this was a 2001, 2002 song, so
Yeah,
There you go.
I
peak
suppose
90s.
that makes sense.
Peak 90s. This is so funny coming from you because you are so technical about this.
2001
I'm talking about the
was so
essence
peak
of the
90s.
90s.
It's the vibes, man.
He would have been like 11.
Yeah, I would have been like 11. But the thing is, if you were growing up in that time, you either were a product of the 90s or your parents were. So you were still raised in a very 90s household. But anyway.
All right. The next chapter is another Ella and Navon diary entry. We don't have any notes from there. So we go to chapter 27
this.
with Rave.
Thank you. Sorry, I had to catch up.
Ooh.
When Con is taking her back to the cell after she's like flesh threaded or whatever. The banter is everything. And she's talking about, like, she's thinking in her head, oh no, the banter is them talking about how she didn't kill him because he would have been like too heavy to drag over to the wall or whatever real reason she says. And then she thinks to herself, he smelled good. I effed up. Let's not dwell on it. I mean, that is what happened.
Yeah.
I did note this too here. I was like, what a train of thought. Like,
I know. But whoever out there is making like a candle scented of Con, it better be like flipping amazing. If it would be so
Yes.
much, you just would not kill anybody over it. Because that's like a normal thought. You
Must
have.
smell pretty good if you don't want to commit murder, huh?
Exactly.
Takes a lot to stop those thoughts.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, and then the next one I wrote, this is a huge throwback to our Throne of Glass coverage.
Oh.
That it said, now I get to die smelling like fermented eel eggs, barely softened by the herbal twang. Lovely. I wrote twang.
the twang.
Twang.
The twang.
I'll
Twang
drink to
is
that.
back. It's twanging.
It's herbal.
Thanks. It's herbal.
Okay. My next note is that I am so excited that Uno showed up. I got so stoked about this, but I would really love some fan art of Uno. And I know I already asked for some of Rook because I was really having trouble picturing what they look like. My imagination is terrible, and I just have no idea what Uno looks like. So if you could find some, although now I'm seeing Kyle's note that there isn't any.
I did a search and really nothing. Yeah. So what we should be asking is people to make fan art of it and then send it to us.
Please, if you're listening, anyone out there, please make me some fan art.
I think there might have been one of Uno, but it was like really sort of janky AI art. So I was like, there's just like all sorts of extra appendages and stuff. And I was like, that's probably not right.
You're muted.
For some reason, I pictured it as that it's like sitting on the chair. It's that white Crete animal that's sitting on the chair, and it's like this. That's what I pictured it as.
You're so close to it, honestly. Like with that, like, that's like pretty. From what other people have described it as, that's really close.
Yeah.
Uno is a mist gun, right?
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so this came up.
Yeah, that's the one that I saw.
Oh
that was,
my
like,
God!
Sort of weird.
Oh yeah, that's
And
from
this came up as mist
Fantastic Beasts.
gun, a little baby guy. I don't know.
What? Okay, that's not what I was picturing.
Yeah.
He's not cute.
For sure, for Woto, I could not find anything.
Oh, hold on.
For some reason, people were way more
picture of
interested
what I
in
was-
drawing Rave and Con and all the dragons and crap. I don't know why.
There you go. I just,
Yeah.
That too.
I just put it in the notes.
Yep. That's Uno.
That's Uno right there.
Exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Pretty close. You know that.
Amazing.
Okay, I love Uno even more now. Honestly, I think my brain latched onto like one specific detail from the first mention of Uno where like all she could see was the fluffy white tail.
Yeah.
And so in my head, Uno was just like a big fluffy black and white dog. So then it was like their little hands reached up to grab the lock. And I was like, wait,
Whoa! This thing has thumbs suddenly.
this isn't right. Oh, all right. Well, thank you. That is
Yeah.
very helpful. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. There's the.
Oh yeah.
Well, that one's actually
Beasts.
a little better
Yeah.
than the one I found, but
That's kind of cute.
I don't remember what that
Oh,
thing is
okay.
called.
I think that was Dose. Well, time for
That's
bed.
called humor. You broke him.
I quit.
That was the most
Okay.
This
British joke.
episode
Okay,
is
well,
wild.
my
This is an insane
next-
episode.
Yeah, there's a lot happening.
This is how you get nominated for awards, baby. If we win, we're gonna
Okay.
be so insufferable.
Don't say that.
Okay, but with this in mind, this is why I was confused because I just kept getting conflicting images in my brain. Because then it says her large fluffy ears twitch as they strain for sound, and these photos that we were coming up with that are obviously not exactly what this creature is because this is, Sarah A. Parker's creation. I wasn't picturing large fluffy ears. This is why I kept going back to dog. But then Uno says, Sareem spoke to Master, commanded I get you out. And this was like I think this is the first line that we get that Uno actually speaks. And I just wrote, I wish Minnie could talk to me like this. If I could just ask her a question, she'd be like, yeah.
I'm so excited if you ever read Dungeon Crawler.
I was just thinking the
I'm
same
just gonna
thing.
keep coming back to it.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait.
But that is actually a cat, so that's fun. Oh, and then I was freaking out about this part where Uno draws a moon on Rave's forehead, bottom lip wobbling, like she's emotional about it, and then says, "This is ... right," in italics. She whispers, and I swallow the odd thickening in my throat. And Rave says, "I know." Like this was a really emotional moment between the two of them as she's drawing this on her forehead. So my actual note in all caps was "what?" with a bunch of exclamation points. But you guys have notes on this too?
I think earlier in John's chapter recap too, he said that he drew Hayes Moon or whatever, or Hayes Perch. But it doesn't say
not
that.
confirmed.
It just says drew a moon. So I don't
No, it
know if
does.
that is
Well, it says
that one specifically. Like we know that she likes that little wonky moon or whatever, but
No, it says that she could tell that's what he drew on her forehead.
Yeah. Hold on.
I'm holding.
Here it is. Her bottom lip wobbles as she drags the piece of coal across my forehead. I immediately know the shape she's drawing, so thoroughly familiar with the moon I seek out in the sky whenever I'm looking toward the shade.
You still don't know if that perch or the little moon
You
is
bet.
Hayes Perch though. That
Well, that's what Essie called it.
Oh, okay, sure.
Boom.
That's fine.
Dang.
I'll just go
Double
to my
boomed.
note here. So then the person next in the cell next to her, whatever, the one that's eating all her food, was like,
Prison Mike.
Like, yes, was like, then why a moon? I cast my gaze forward, tap, tap, tapping my foot to the soothing tune in my head. Because they fall, even when we don't want them to. Poor little Rafe. She thinks she's going to die.
Yeah. And my question for this, when she draws the moon on her forehead, like, is this an additional piece for Raigun to see? Or I was thinking maybe that was something to help him recognize maybe possibly the queen even. Although with the queen, you know, I don't know like how big the Colosseum is or like the distance there. So it could have been like impossible for her to see something like that. But I don't know. Maybe it was just more like, I guess, sentimental than for a specific purpose. I don't know. Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Uno can see more of Rafe.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
maybe
Yeah.
even just knows she likes this moon or some sort of weird, how she has some weird draw to that moon or whatever. And
Yeah.
did it for her.
I may not even say, because we talked about it in the previous episode, so I'll bring it back up because I just thought of it myself. Maybe not seeing more of Rave, but in the description of Miskins after their physical description, not only being verbal, they can see into the future. These visions are sporadic and like subject to change. So it may not be like of her, like whatever's current, but she might just be saying, "Oh, this is right for your future."
I mean,
or
that is
whatever.
what she did, right? It said that she
It doesn't explicitly say if she like drew it on her because she had a vision, but
Yeah.
Well, but
Not
I
the
thought it
drawing
said that she
part,
did look
but-
into the future here.
oh,
she
maybe
had-
I missed.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
does. That's how
she went
she
into, like, a
sees
trance or
Serene
whatever
dying
here.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't remember that part.
That's like the whole part of Uno being there.
I don't remember it. Uno came there to say silly things and draw on her head, and that's all I remember.
Okay.
Oh, she says Master will
stars.
die.
That's how Kyle's going to rate the book. Because he doesn't remember it.
Una says Master will die if you do not go to that Colosseum. Serene too. I have seen it now.
Which is why Uno eventually doesn't help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving into chapter 28, another Rave chapter. She is heading into the Colosseum, and it says she's passing by quote-unquote familiar faces on her way to the Colosseum. Faye and folks she recognizes. She also mentioned that she's seen some of the members of the Oth here, like in the groups or whatever. And I thought this was super interesting. It says, to me, their faces glow like moons. And I was like, are they literally glowing, or do they just look like happy, or like proud or something that she's like doing this?
They're like beaming, like a big smile.
That's what I mean.
Moonbeam.
But that seems weird.
Or just clean, and she's been around dirty people forever.
So,
including
I don't know.
herself.
Maybe they're all in the second trimester and they're just
Oh
glowing. They're just
All of
glowing.
Maybe.
All
Yeah.
their skin.
Yeah, maybe.
Great time to bring a kid into the world.
Sure.
That's a good call out though, because I didn't stop long enough there to pay attention to that. But I was paying attention to the freaking queen who shows up. And by the way, this is the queen that owed Con a favor. So I don't know if this was the favor that Con was like calling in, because Rave said that she doesn't usually come to these. But it says her gaze falls upon me and she stills, eyes widening with a flash of something: shock, disbelief, recognition. And at this point, John and I had I think we had started to talk about some of this stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, it is recognition. And she's crying and screaming at the guards, and then she starts singing to Claude to help save Rave, and I'm like freaking out. Then I start full on losing my mind at this part where Con's dragon looks at Rave, and it says something blasts, again, call back if you prefer back to the quote that John pulled up earlier in this chapter section. Something blasts up from the depths of my shattering internal lake like a net that swallows my solid heart. Claws gore into the stony flesh, injecting me with a song that rustles up my throat and sits on my tongue like a ball of icy flame, prying my jaw wide. It spills in rhythm with my galloping heartbeat, my serrated voice cutting through the din. A language not of the common tongue, but something different, something I don't understand and probably should question. And I wrote, yes, question it. How the F are you singing to this dragon, girlfriend? I am but this is the most. It is a dragon.
Yes, it is.
The thing outside of her is the dragon?
No. Well, yes. It has to be. It has to be that. Literally, Regan just like looked at her, and the dragon inside of her was like, "What up, bitch? I'm singing a song."
You want to do a duet?
Yeah, literally. And then we don't talk about it again. I'm just like,
Yeah, you just don't question it. Ignorance is.
Yeah.
That's it.
Take your feelings and push them way down.
Way down. Stop questioning things.
that sounds like a quote from How I Met Your Mother, but I know you've never seen that. But Ted Mosby goes on this whole thing about how we're from Ohio, and in Ohio we take our feelings and we shove them way down deep. He does the motion and everything. That was spot on.
Nice.
Interesting.
Really spooky.
You would hate
Sorry.
And then Ragoon.
Crab Ragoon.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Crab Ragoon.
That's exactly where my mind was. Okay. And then Regan literally like not swallows her, but like not bites her. I don't know, picks her up in his mouth.
Literally.
I hate you guys so much. Like, I have said like 5 things this whole episode, and every single one you just make fun of me for.
I'm sorry.
It says, sharp teeth close around me, casting me in a pitch of darkness that's hot and wet. Splitting, crunching sounds attack me from all around. Before the stake, stop, guys. Oh my God. Before the stake I'm bound against dislodges from the stage and lurches sideways, taking me with it, leaving my plunging stomach behind. Fear finally masticates me into oblivion. So, like, literally is inside a dragon's mouth. And then, like,
Chomp, chomp.
is crazy.
This was quite shocking to read. It was just like, oh, it really happened. Like,
Yeah.
he literally just bit her and took steak and all, like everything.
Well, and that's where you leave it, like that she just gets bitten, like eaten, basically,
You
and
bit.
you don't know if she's like dead or alive, and it jumps to a diary entry chapter, so it's like you're just left in this like, what is going on?
I was all about it the whole time.
I was like, well, there she goes, she did.
Oh no, I thought it was the queen's dragon, but I figured that I thought that the queen had like called her dragon in or something. I don't know if the queen has one, but I figured that since she was singing to Claude to save her, I was like, oh, this is her dragon. She's gonna like take her to meet her somewhere.
No, I'm like, she's about to get eaten by dragons. This big scary one came up. It didn't work. She did.
She gone.
She out of here.
Book over.
Yep. But it does jump to a diary entry from Elowen, and she says, high on the aftermath of seeing Hadion take his first flight upon a loom's back, smiling, beaming, both of them hollering in victory, screams to the sky. And I was just beaming, like so excited for Hadion here after all the stuff he's gone through. And obviously, like, however short-lived this moment was for him, but like that he got the moment, like that he got to live that one stuff, and that Elowen gets to remember him like that instead of
For now.
what? Okay, that Elowen gets to remember him in that moment, like after obviously then he dies, but it's nice.
Yeah. But then they literally all die. I was not ready for her whole family to be killed. And I'm like, I feel a little more settled on this now, but I mean, the only information that we have right now is that Ostern was there, like right before this happened, and he was trying to get her to marry Tyroth, and she was like, nope. So I at first was like, I don't feel like it would have been that deep that Ostern would have just like killed her entire family immediately after pitching this like one time, but that could have been, I mean, there could be way more going on there. But I'm assuming that this maybe was Ostern being pissed about that.
But also, like, you have to wonder, was she supposed to be also part of that, and she just happened to sleep somewhere else, or would?
Well, I don't know, because he wanted Tyroth to be king, is what I'm assuming. So I figured this is maybe like his way of forcing Elowen into marrying Tyroth so that he could be like king of the Shade. I don't know, but now she's queen, which is also insane. Go off. Really.
Yeah. And then she says that all of the like servants, all the people, and even the gods themselves are telling her that she needs to wear Ma's diadem. And she's like, she says, they say I need to wear Ma's diadem now that it's finally loosened from her head, but only after it suckled every last drop of life from her body and made her unrecognizable. So we know that she hasn't like buried them, and everyone's trying to be like, you need to let them go. Like they're just kind of around. So does that mean that her Ma's body is just obviously like looking different? Like, like all the life has been literally sucked out of it, and that's absolutely disgusting and horrible and all the things, just awful.
Yeah.
And then to think too that now she's like, okay, now it's my turn. Like that's horrifying.
Yeah. Well, even with the little snippets that we got earlier in her POVs where her mom was like just freaking out about the crown and how difficult it was to wear. Yeah. That she's seen that happen and now she knows she has to wear it.
And she goes on to say that Ma once told me she's never felt closer to death than the moment that she settled the crown on her brow. So perhaps I will finally put it on, if only to be exactly that, closer. And that ends that chapter. And I was just like, it was another one of those couple sentences where I was just like, I was not expecting that either. It was just like these little moments. And some of these parts are just like really shocking and just like kind of surprising. She just kind of like throws it at you a little bit.
Especially with the diary entries, because it's like so much life happens and it's just whatever Eowyn decided to document. You know, so it's like it's not written like Rave's story necessarily where it's in all the excruciating detail of every tiny thing. It's just chunks of information.
Little snippets.
That like hits hard.
And that takes us to our final chapter of our chapter section, chapter 30. Still Rave, working through. And it says, a shiver rakes up my spine as I imagine them scrapping over my remains while they spit primitive flames that lack the punch to end my life cordially. I'm definitely either haunted, cursed, or a bit of both. Referencing the baby dragons she's presumably going to be meeting once she gets spit out. But I just wrote here, like, the imagery in her descriptions is astounding. It is so cool how she phrases things, like, that lack the punch to end my life cordially. I don't know. That one was just like, what a good way, a little creative way of writing that. I love it.
So good.
Well, and I feel like it's so clear to see too, as much as it's like the whole scene where she's literally inside the dragon's mouth and the saliva building up and then she almost like falls down its throat and like
rolled around in there.
Yeah, that whole scene was crazy. And then just get spit out. Just so well done.
That's so good. Oh, so while she's still in like the dragon's mouth, right? She's like humming this little song. This like bar song was kind of what we called it. This was where I realized that I need a glossary check on the word trog because it says there once was a jolly wee drifter who drove into the molten bog to escape the fiery logs of a hatchling molten smog, then emerged as a velvet trog. And I was like, wait a second. I thought that the trog was like a trash chute and now I'm really confused and I need a glossary check.
Hello, I'm here with the glossary. The velvet trog is a large, lanky creature that likes to hoard and feast on trash. They have 4 arms, long black hair, and blue velvet skin. They consume memories from the bits of trash they eat and purge them as luminous, sticky tendrils they pull from gaping holes in their hands. Using these tendrils to decorate their layers, these creatures are verbal. And so I think they did talk about like throwing things to the trog or down the trog, but like it was meaning to these creatures. And they had talked about how there was creatures that lived under the city and feeded on its trash. Yeah. I didn't know that they pulled tendrils out of their gaping holes in their hands, but I did know they existed.
Well, they do that, and then they have like a really big affinity for metal, and they just like to decorate the metal. So if you ever find like a velvet wrapped steel, it's probably from a velvet trog.
Okay, Kyle.
Decorating its metals in its lair.
Those are rare members to find, too.
Wow.
Anyway, back to the jolly wee drifter.
Embarrassing.
Wow.
Yeah. So a velvet trog sounds wild and not something to mess with.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty sick.
But
I
this
saw
goes
an
to what
image of
John
them
was
actually
talking
as well.
about, where maybe these like velvet trogs are working with Sareem and giving the dead bodies that get thrown down there away or something. Like if it is a sentient creature down there that can talk, like who knows what dealings or whatever they're going down. But this is like another one of her little songs though. So I was like, is this the song she was singing? Is this her like calming song or something? Because she's obviously singing it here while she's stressed out or whatever. But I don't know. Is this a velvet trog?
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't like it.
weird. Creepy.
Yeah.
Super
That's
creepy.
what came up when I did the search.
We'll drop all of these pictures in Discord just so people know. If you don't look them up yourself, find them there. I will say though, in the song, There Once Was a Jolly Wee Drifter, the audiobook says there once was a jolly wee gypsy. So I don't know necessarily why they're different, but
Depending on when the version of the book was written and when the audiobook was done, they might have changed it just for the fact that gypsy's often seen as not a term that should be used because it can be seen as derogatory towards a certain actual people group in real life. That would be my only guess, but
Oh, wait, they do. You said they have 4 arms.
yes.
yes.
Yeah, they have
I was
4
like, why does
arms.
this have 3 arms?
Oh, they got 4 arms.
Watch out, Con.
Velvet 4 arms.
Long black hair. These hairs on this thing are disgusting.
Hello.
Yep. Hello. You love long black hair.
I do. Crush on Rave. That's what I said last week.
Connor.
God.
Connor's just like that the TikTok audio where it's like, oh my god. Oh my
My God. Yes, my next note here is when she's saying this about Khan. From what I hear, all this one has is a very hungry dragon and an affinity with Boulder strong enough to crush a city with a single word. And I was just like, freaking sweet. Like, when do we get to see some of that? I know they kind of alluded to him being like super powerful when it comes to like Boulder, but I'm hoping we get to see some kind of magic. I just want to see like a sweet magic off kind of thing. Like somebody's got like Ignos and somebody's got Boulder and like, I don't know. I think some battles are going to end up being pretty sweet in here. I really hope we get some action.
Oh, there's going to be some
Get
action.
some action.
I knew that would not go uncommented on.
I just want to know if his affinity to Boulder, strong enough to crush a city with a single word, is something that has happened. Or is this just like an exaggeration, like a hyperbole of his power that people just like mention in passing or whatever? I don't know.
Maybe he did do it before out of revenge, and that's why he was like,
Wow.
don't do that.
Don't
It's very
Don't you
Black
do
Bolty.
it.
Girl, don't do it. Oh, I did think it was hilarious though after this like revelation about him and this affinity with Boulder that Rafe's POV says, I've often thought folk look like their pets. This is no exception. This is like her first time seeing Khan next to his massive dragon. It just made me laugh.
Honestly, it helped me see both of them better. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like just like
So just like dragon
big
version of Khan.
shoulders, super. I don't know. Yeah, I'm here for it.
I love it.
This next note of mine is just my weekly neuroses note. After Khan goes through the many reasons Rave would die and he lands by herself, she says, he's so full of dragon shit. And listening to it in the audiobook, I was like, why be specific? Is dragon duty less trustworthy than other plops? Was it a necessary descriptor? Like, crap is crap. You could just say bum bombs like everyone else. But I will immediately amend this note because I brought up this like conversation with some other friends and they forwarded me this list of they're all in my head. They forwarded me this list of human type craps that we run into and their different meanings. Like bullshit is lies, dog shit is poor quality, bat shit is illogical, ape shit is aggressive, horse shit is unfair. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe their poops do have different connotations just like ours do. Chicken shit, cowardly, dipshit, stupid.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Sure. I just thought it was like she was trying to get something from a Spangle, something. So she kept saying Spangle. Yeah, Spangle poop. And then,
Spangle shat.
yeah. And now she's literally next to a dragon. So she says dragon shit. Like, I just assumed she was pulling
There's
from
in
her.
vicinity to that specific type
Yeah,
of crap. So that's the
Pulling
one she
from what's
pulls.
around her. Yes.
Okay.
But what you're saying also makes sense.
But yeah, just a weird thought I had while reading.
Well, then it says, his upper lip peels back from canines long and honed, making muscles tighten low in my belly. Strangely. I wrote, you mean your uterus?
And I wrote, you mean my uterus?
And I just wrote, hello.
And then I think kind of in the same conversation she says, nobody makes me scream. Certainly not him. And I wrote, okay, this is just teed up for us here. I said, don't worry, you'll change your tune. Trust me.
Sort of giving like the nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
I should have put that in there. That was good.
Well, then Con says, you're right, you do smell bad. And she goes, screw you. And he goes, you wanted to kill me a moment ago. I can't keep up. I just love him. And then a few lines later, they keep going back and forth, but he says, heartily decline. And I just love that. And I also want to add that to phrases I
yes.
say regularly.
Heartily decline.
And then he gave her his cloak and called her adorable.
Oh my God.
I love them. I love them so much. And then, oh my God, I forgot about all of these. I had so many good highlights from this chapter. Rave says, I'm going to cut out your tongue with that blade in your boot. And he says, I prefer you use your teeth, but beggars can't be choosers.
Wow. I had put this next note in just because I was surprised no one else did, but he crouches, grabs her left ankle in one hand, clutches the chain in the other, and yanks, shoulders bulging. A link pops free and catapults through the air. And I was like, just surprised no one noted your boy popping chains barehanded, like we talked about the padlock earlier. But it's impressive.
Some strong forearms. Okay, so then Rave is like freaking out about the whole chain situation, and she says, Con, no, I did not agree to this. His body stiffens, steps slowing, a slow grating sound coming from him. He says, say it again. She says, what? And he says, my name, Moonbeam. Say it again. And I was like, I'm squealing.
And after she does so multiple times, she's like screaming, God, God, God. After multiple times, he says, oh, you didn't say please, and keeps walking anyway, which is very respectable.
Well, and he hasn't actually like introduced himself. Like she just... in her own way, figured out that it was Con Bagor. And so whenever she says it, obviously he didn't even know that she knew. He was still keeping this whole secret. So, and then they get on the dragon and they go fly on a magic carpet ride together. And he says, you're coming with me to Dom. And she says, so few go to the Burns capital and return.
Dun, dun, dun. But then he says, you okay?
And it's all fine.
And it's fine. This was also the first thing he said to her. This was like his first line in the book. And then it says, yes, I whisper, cradling this strange giddy feeling with a gentleness I didn't realize I possessed. Worried it'll break if I squeeze too hard. She says, I'm okay. This is my last note of the chapter section, and it's in all caps because I said, I am officially obsessed with these two, and I don't even really know anything about them yet. I love them.
Oh, good.
Well, yeah. It kind of feeds right into our first little question here at the end of the reading then. What are your now not so initial impressions and current character thoughts, John?
Yes. Continuing to love all the description, imagery, just loving the writing in general. Character thoughts. I really do like Rave. I think we're going to get to a point where... or we're going to see how powerful she is. But I also think we're going to really, at least I hope so. I hope we really get that or a moment like that with Con. Because she's alluding to him being this massive dude. And he just seems to be a force to be reckoned with. So I would love to see a moment with him like we saw with her as the other taking out all them guards.
Yeah.
I would love to see a moment like that in some way with him. I think that'd be really sweet, especially use of Boulder, and see what, his affinity with Ignos is, or if he's got any other tricks up his sleeves as well. So very interested to see what role Sareem is playing in all this because I think there is more to her. A little sus, getting a little sus her way. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Con.
Con Vagor is very quickly climbing the ranks on my book boyfriend list. I'm a very big fan. I love him already. What?
I just think that's funny because he said like 5 things.
I know, but he said the best things.
Okay, sure.
And he's so sweet. He's so gentle. I just love him. That's all. But we will get to this in a minute. But I just am having so much fun discussing this book with Jon already. It feels like we are getting like literal crumbs of information just scattered throughout these pages, but like in the best way because it's so well written. But Jon and I have just been like getting super into these theory conversations and like gasping over little revelations and connections and stuff. And I'm really loving this reading experience because it's making me even more excited for the possibility of all 4 of us being first-time readers for Brimstone and the Ballad of Falling Dragons. If we can make that work, I feel like it's going to be so fun.
Yeah. This is your guys' first read together, right? Because you did Throne of Glass, but you had already read it. And then all the things on the podcast and stuff. So this is your first like...
Yeah.
Obviously,
time we
like
get
being
to, like,
reactors,
talk about it.
but also just like
Yeah.
ever. That's so fun.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
it is fun. I mean, technically we read Throne of Glass together for the first time, but it was like pre-Bookstagram and all of that. We did keep pace with each other, but we didn't have like super in-depth theory conversations and stuff like we do
Right.
now.
Yeah. Love that.
Well, with where we're ending, our 2 Doms heading to Dom, seeing who's going to Dom on top. Any thoughts and theories for what's coming next?
Oh, wow.
Just pull that one out. That was impressive.
10 out of 10.
Just pulling what out? Wait, right?
Jon, any theories on your end?
Well, I'm trying to see what she wrote.
Do you want me to just read through it? Because I basically just annotated our conversation.
gotcha.
Oh,
Yeah,
you thought
you can
some
go ahead.
theory
Or
together.
You can go ahead.
Yeah,
I'll
so-
add if I need to.
Okay. So this was while Jon and I were talking yesterday. So I literally wrote, okay, Jon and I are talking, so I'm going to type it out here.
Perfect.
So this is the working theory with the information we currently have. Austern came to visit
And
Elowin.
this is like kind of like from both of us. Like we've talked through this and be like,
Yes.
yes, I think we both agree on this kind of thing.
So we were like tossing ideas back and forth and just kind of this is where we landed for right now. So Austern came to visit Elowin and wanted her married off to Tyroth. She said hell no, and her parents stood by that rejection. But then they were mysteriously poisoned. Initially, I typed, I don't know why it would be that deep for Austern other than just ensuring his line continued to be in power. But the theory is that he killed Elowin's family and left her alive as the new queen to force her into marrying Tyroth, and that's how Tyroth became king of the shade. And now Tyroth is described as a cruel king with a heart said to fester from the loss of his queen because he thinks Elowin died, but she survived and lost all of her memories in this accident. And now, but before, oh, wait. I lost my line. You're messing me up.
Stop looking at me.
So
Just
funny.
read.
I'm trying not to look at you, but you're doing this with me, and then it's catching
Well-
my eye. Okay. So she survived. She lost all of her memories in some kind of accident, and now she is Rave. And Jon said that he thinks because her marriage to Tyroth was loveless, that was the way that she had met Con at some point before, and she had fallen in love with him before this accident that she's now been mended from. So
It's almost
That's-
like she had like an affair with Con kind of thing,
yeah.
possibly.
So I still have no idea how this would explain the dragon situation, but I could see a like love story or just legendary friendship actually being between Elowin's dragon and Con's dragon, and that maybe they were even the Moonplume and the Saber Scythe from the ballad. But again, we would need to fact check the timeline because I have no idea what that is. This is just the train of thought we are currently going down. But because Con's dragon is a Saber Scythe, and in the ballad, the Saber Scythe is the one who survived, and the Moonplume is the one that plummeted to the earth and shattered. And now Con is hunting moon shards. And now he's saying that he's found the most important piece. When he's looking at Rave, this is how we got here.
So where in your house is the like red string corkboard? You guys
Right now, it's just this
clearly
Google
can't-
Doc.
Because you're like, because this connects to that.
Yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Amazing.
Yeah. This is the result of our conversation yesterday. But it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Nice.
Even if none of this is correct, it was a really fun conversation. But I do think a lot of this is correct.
Word.
It's the best part of theorizing is talking it out.
Yeah, you're getting to the part in the podcast episodes where you get to be like, I was right about that. I was wrong about that. You know, whatever it is. And call yourself out. Yay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that takes us to the cry counter. No one cried this episode.
No,
So
no cries.
I still have one from
Nobody.
episode 1, and Con still has 2. So you're the winning, Con. Keeping the title.
You're
Yep.
the winning.
You're the winning.
You are the winning.
I can't say anything. I'm going to mute. Okay, bye.
Oh man, well, someone better check my pulse because this is a wild read. And the best part, we're still just getting started. And you can get with us again next week as we go through chapters 31 to 41. If you want to scream theories in real time with us, you'll just have to catch the closest saliva-covered ride in a dragon jaw over to Discord, where we have our spoiler-free and spoiler-tastic podcast threads for each and every individual episode. So even if you're late to this episode, we are your perpetually safe space for this kind of content. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok as well for more fun and exciting book content in general, updated podcast, merch drops, lots more.
And there you have it. The moonbeam has landed. King Khan is beating his chest, and we are not okay. If you are emotionally straddling a large gruff man, we are here with you. Head over to betweenpagesandfriends.com and join us as we scream into the void and our Discord. Share all the theories, prep for more pain, spice, and plot twists that I can only assume will leave us all emotionally unstable in the best way possible. Till then, stay wordy, stay nerdy, don't stress, and stay blessed.
Wow.
Bye.
What an outro.
Those are great outros, boys.
Those were great.
Thanks, I wrote it.
Me too.